do is going to be a very there's going to be a nuance that what they're going to add or subtract.
There's always a variation.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, they're telling you, but they're not telling you. They want you to commit to something that is pointless.
Yeah. Misdirection, basically.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Also, like, it goes back to what you said. They want to make the person who points that out seem crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the whole sign.
That's right. Thing. It's like, you're talking about the Matrix? Oh, really? How about Harry Potter? Is Dumbledore going to fly around here soon? You know what I mean? Like, when you talk to people about this stuff.
Yeah. It's interesting. I saw, they came out with this movie, I think I told you this, called Yesterday, where the guy basically like, the world has a blackout for like 5 minutes, and then this guy wakes up in London, like he got hit by a bus, and then he wakes up, and then like, him and like 2 other people on Earth are the only people that remember there was even a band called the Beatles. And then so he just starts like, basically pretending that he wrote the Beatles song. He's a musician as it is. And he starts pretending like he wrote like their songs. Like he realizes there's no Beatles. And he really wanted to
So he entered a parallel reality during a blackout.
That's something like that. And so where like it's funny, there's like there's every band besides, which kind of weird, like there is no it shows a thing where he's playing a song by a band named by Oasis as a kid. It's like a song contest in a school or whatever. But I don't know. It's not clear if like if Oasis was like a real existed or because later on in the movie he goes to Google Oasis and he can't find anything on Oasis either. So Oasis doesn't exist. It's kind of strange. So Oasis doesn't exist. The Beatles don't exist. There's no Coca-Cola. There's only Pepsi. It's kind of weird.
Ew.
Yeah, and then there's like another thing. Oh yeah, there's no Harry Potter, because at the end of the movie he's like says something like Harry Potter, and then she's like, "Who's Harry Potter?" His girlfriend. And he's just like, "Never mind." And so he just like writes these songs. I mean, he doesn't write them. He just like That's
the premise of Hot Tub Time Machine.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
You ever see Hot Tub Time Machine?
I've seen parts of it, yeah.
They go back to the 80s, right? And so then he's like, let's launch Loogle instead of Google, and let's prevent Zac Efron.
So he doesn't go into the past. That's the thing. He doesn't go into the past.
No.
Yeah.
Right, no, they go right, but it's a similar idea where they start like. I think the black dude, their friend, like he's a musician, so he starts singing that what was that band? Oh, man, why can't I remember anything? It was like a white chick, Fergie.
Oh yeah. Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah. Black Eyed Peas, right. Yeah. So he was singing like a Black Eyed Peas songs at an '80s party. Right? Let's get retarded, and let's get it started. Yeah. So. It was a big hit. It just ripped it off.
Oh my god! Yeah.
And then the other friend.
They did the same thing. When he plays, what's his face? He plays. In Back to the Future, he plays.
Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry. Yeah. I don't think they're ready for this or something like that.
Right.
The kids are gonna love it.
No, the Chuck Berry. No, they were ready for Chuck Berry. They weren't ready for like.
They weren't ready for like the riff at the end.
The heavy metal riff.
Yeah. He's like, your kids are gonna love it.
Van Halen. Right?
Yeah. It's funny because already like 10 years after that, there were people, Van Halen and stuff. Yeah. Oh, not Van Halen. Zeppelin. Not even Van Halen. They were playing that kind of stuff.
Well, that was 20 years later because that was supposed to be 1955.
55. No, it's like 15 years later. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Like Van Halen, like Zeppelin, they were like early to mid 70s.
1970s,
they got them started.
Even late 60s, yeah. Dude, I've been watching. What I've been watching?
They went back to.
Sorry, what is it? No, what'd you say?
What?
No, what's it called?
Oh, nothing. I was listening to you.
Oh, no, I'll say I've been watching. They released, I mean, Disney released it, but a bunch of people jacked it and posted it on YouTube. The clips from the Beatles, like really, really amazing HD quality, like videos of them in the studio when they were recording Abbey Road. And that was the time when like John was with Yoko, and then like they had all these kind of arguments, whatever. So you see like Harrison. Like Harrison was like the guy. Basically, he was younger than all of them, and he got to a point where he like. So what happened was, they had the downtime. They're not together as a band between albums. So he actually went to Woodstock, and he jammed around with like Clapton and all these other people. And it was like he basically got to like develop his skills, and also like his his confidence, his skills, everything. Also, he did like, well, LSD. He said his dentist put LSD in their coffee, him and Lennon, in like '66 or something like that. That's how they wrote all those songs, by the way. Like they changed. He said it changed their life, like opened up their whole realm. And so he did that also a bunch of other times, and then he just learned how to like be like a real guitarist, like a serious, like a riffer.
You're talking about George Harrison.
Harrison, yeah. So there's the parts in this thing where he's like sitting with them and he's trying to like iterate or tell them like, new techniques or this or that, the other, and you could see like McCartney sitting there like smoking a cigarette, and he's like, who the hell do you think like, he just like totally douchey about it. Lennon's just kind of like checked out. And then you could see like Harrison like really was probably secretly the most talented out of all of them in terms of music. Like he's the one that brought the sitar sound, the Indian, sitar sound to them, and he's the one that came up with all the like the horn stuff and this. Like he was on another level that they couldn't, it was just because it was just like Paul and John, and they were the ones writing the songs with the words and everything. It was like the whole thing was just like you could really see it's like the classical case of like, just egos patronizing this really, really talented guy, or not recognizing him.
You know what happened to George Harrison, right? Like somebody attacked him.
Yeah. Somebody tried to stab him. No, but he died of he had like a disease. Not disease, like a sickness.
George Harrison died?
He passed away. Yeah, he passed away from he had something with kidney or liver. Yeah, he passed away in 2001. Shortly after 9/11, he passed away. He had here. He was a Hindu. He actually one of these people, like he said, your body dies, but you go, your soul is forever, kind of thing. And he's very like, very spiritual captain guy. Where the heck is his here? Where is this thing here? Oh, here we go. Yeah. He had lung, something like, yeah, you see it, cancerous growth, because whatever, he smoked also. Yeah, he had lung cancer. Yeah, and he said he was treated for a brain tumor. Like all kinds of stuff going on. Listen, you do, it's radiotherapy at Staten Island University Hospital. It's non-small cell lung cancer spread to his brain. Oh, wow. He was like 58. He was pretty fairly young.
I don't know why. I thought that he was around more recently. But...
Ringo is alive and Paul is alive. Ringo Starr, the drummer's alive.
Right. Norm Macdonald tells the best Ringo story ever.
Oh yeah. What did he say?
Yeah, I think I told you. It's where he went to see one of his like country music. Like I forgot the guy's name, like Waylon Jennings, something like.
Okay. Who Ringo went to see or?
No, Norm Macdonald.
Okay, fine.
And then, but also like Bob Dylan was there too. And so he didn't really stay. He didn't really come for Bob Dylan, but he stuck around just to kind of. Yeah. And later they became friends. But basically he was listening to Ringo. He was listening to Bob Dylan, and then he was playing songs, and out of nowhere, Bob Dylan just like he tells the guy who's running the lights to shine the light in the middle of the audience, and then Ringo Starr is sitting there at the the spotlight is like right on him, right? Actually, no. I'm sorry, I screwed the whole thing up. Let me backtrack a little bit. So Bob Dylan, he finishes singing a song, and then he goes like this. He just out of nowhere starts going, Ringo, Ringo,
the heck? Yeah.
Ringo, like 45 times.
Yeah.
Like, Ringo, right?
They were such like hipsters, these people.
The whole audience is stunned, right?
Yeah.
And then the spotlight shines on Ringo Starr, right? He's like sitting there with some lady, like being awkward. He's like, Ringo, tell me what song I should play. He's like, Stuck in the Middle. He goes, I already played that one. It's like,
that's hilarious.
He's like, Ringo.
So weird. Yeah, man. Dylan, he's an interesting character. The whole thing with Chabad and Israel.
Yeah.
Interesting character.
The story that, when he was the Chabad Shliach in New Orleans, right? Ringo came by for a Pesach, for Seder. He's being all weird and everything.
Yeah.
And he stunk like a bum. Like, just like hadn't taken a shower in like 7 years.
Huh.
So like, these people are crazy.
Yeah, they're nuts. By the way, Harrison had out of all the guys in the band, he had the most smokestackiest wife. So maybe that was another aspect.
So they were all jealous of his smokestack wife?
Like Lennon had the most annoying, horrible, banshee screaming bitch wife. Which he for some reason was.
Are you talking about Yoko? How dare you? She is beloved.
Yes, she's yeah. My mom hates her more than she hates the Soviet Union.
By the way, my dad is a huge fan of the Beatles. Personally, I don't get it. I don't like them.
Their later stuff is very, very good, and the songs. The impressive thing about the Beatles is how. Imagine if I'll give you like an analogy. Imagine if the Backstreet Boys or NSYNC had stayed around for 10 years, and like 8 years in, let's say let's just for example, I don't know when these guys started. Let's say if they started in 2000, right? The Backstreet Boys, let's say.
Yeah.
And by 2008 and 9. Their music would be like a bazillion times better than when they started. Like more innovative, more interesting, more just serious, more intellectual, cerebral. As opposed to just popso, like we say in Russian.
Right.
Imagine if those guys went from actual popso over a 10-year span to being real musicians. This was what happened to the Beatles. Granted, it wasn't even like that. I mean, it was popso for that time, but they were playing guitars and like instruments. They weren't being, they weren't having like auto-tune BS, dancing around like fagulas,
Right.
Like it was actual, like it was a band. It was just like playing simple sounding songs, and then they progressed onto like, coded messages with like, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, a song about LSD.
I am the Eggman.
That's already. That's so. By the way, Ringo was always given only one song to write and to per album. Like he was literally that. He wasn't even a songwriter, and then every album they're just like they came up to him. They're like, all right, dude, you got to get. This is yours. You got to get one here, on this one. Just one. So he literally, I think, has like a total of like 3 songs that he wrote total.
Are they good?
They're alright. No, it's a Yellow Submarine, Octopus's Garden. The one you were just, what was it?
Really, the Yellow Submarine was Ringo? That's a famous song.
Here. I'll just. There's this wonderful website called Google.
Yeah.
Did Ringo Starr write? Which songs did Ringo Starr write? He wrote. Okay. Octopus. No, he wrote one. He wrote more than that. Just like the famous here. Octopus's Garden. Don't Pass Me By, With a Little Help from My Friends. I don't know what this Bekel Boogaloo is. Think It Over. That's probably okay. He co-wrote Something with Harrison. Something in the way she moved. That one. That's actually a really good one. He wrote like "I Want to Be Your Man." That was like in their pop era.
Right. I don't know. No. That's. I was thinking. I want to hold your hand.
That's also same area. "Day in the Life" he wrote, and then there's a bunch of others, but that's like already solos. I mean, he wrote a bunch. Like there's some I don't even like. They're not so popular. But his famous stuff was "Yellow Submarine," "Help for my Little Help for My Friends," "I Want to Be Your Man," "Don't Pass Me By," and "Octopus's Garden." It's funny, they show like how when he was writing Octopus Garden, McCartney brought in his little stepdaughter because it was actually a kid's song, you know. He brought in his stepdaughter to the studio, so cute. To like hang out or whatever.
What was that? There was like a Helter Skelter thing. Remember, like something to do with Manson.
What?
Helter Skelter, right? Wasn't that like a song?
Helter Skelter was Aerosmith.
No.
Helter Skelter? Oh yeah, there was the Beatles. Okay, yeah. You're right. Because there's a song Helter Skelter by Motley Crue. There's a Helter Skelter by U2. Rob Zombie wrote a song called Helter Skelter.
No, but that's all because of because of Charles Manson.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, song by okay.
Something it has something to do with the apocalypse.
I'll tell you exactly. The song McCartney's attempt to create a sound as loud and as dirty as possible. It is regarded as a key influence in early development of heavy metal. In '76, the song was released on the B-side of Got to Get You in My Life. So I guess it's like he released it when he was already. Along with other tracks, Beatles' Helter Skelter was interpreted by cult leader Charles Manson as a message predicting interracial war in U.S. Manson titled his vision of this uprising after the song. Rolling Stone magazine ranked Helter Skelter 52nd on his list of 100 greatest Beatles songs. Susie and the Banshees, Motley Crue, Aerosmith, there you go. U2 Oasis are among the artists who have covered. They did the covers, and McCartney has frequently performed them in concert. I've heard the first time I heard that thing was the Aerosmith version. I've never actually heard the Beatles.
I saw this. There was like a documentary. Apparently, how there was an accident. Mm-hmm. The Beatles got into a car crash, or Paul McCartney did, and then he actually died. And they replaced him with a stand-in or a look-alike.
What?
Yeah, so like the Paul McCartney that we have now is not the original one. You ever heard that?
Hold on a second. Let me play this situation. Wait, but when did he make this? This sounds like it was made in this probably late 70s. But it was made here. When was this? When was this song? It sounds like it was made way later. 68. Interesting. Wow, that's pretty like ahead of its time. That sound. This is really hard for 1968.
Yeah.
Granted, what's his name? Hendrix played the anthem when he almost like, he made sounds that from a guitar that nobody hasn't heard since that time. That was 69 already. So there's a bunch of these guys that were doing this kind of distorted, distortion.
Absolutely.
It's interesting.
I think the most drugged out person I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. In Woodstock was the drummer for Santana. I think his name was Graham Lear. When they were performing Soul Sacrifice.
His name was Michael
Graham Lear.
Michael Shreve.
Graham Lear.
What? Not Michael Shreve. I'm looking. Yeah, I'm looking. His drum solo during Soul Sacrifice in the Woodstock film is described as electrifying. It's Michael Shreve.
Oh, really? That's his name?
Yeah, Michael Shreve. Let's see. I want to check this out. What are you talking about? Remember?
He's like a kid. He's like wearing a dashiki.
Let's see. Woodstock, maybe. Oh. Let's see. Yeah, he's like freaking shaggy hair.
White kid.
Yeah. He's got like crazy hair that looks like he's out of a cartoon.
Looks like a little girl.
Hanna-Barbera cartoon or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this guy's out of his mind. Hey, he's wearing like one of these
There's
whatever.
never been anybody higher in the history of high people.
He actually said that he like, or you could just tell.
No, I think that's just what it looked like to me.
Yeah, dude, this guy is holy flip.
He's definitely having a good time. I'll tell you that.
Oh my God, this solo is
He's
insane.
like everything is so intense, right? He's like, oh,
Bro, I can't imagine
the way he looks is the way I feel on X.
Dude, he was 19 or 20 years old in this. Here,
His
Michael
performance was sick, though.
Shrevey. Yeah, he was just turned 20. He's not, yeah. Crazy, man. See, like, I can't even imagine what it would be to be there. Rabbi Schloss was there.
Really? He was
Rabbi Schloss, I think he was friends with all those people, and he lived in Tangiers at some point with who's that guy? Flip. Here. Artists who lived in Tangiers. There was a whole Kerouac, Burroughs, Ginsberg, Tennessee Williams, Truman Capote. So Rabbi Schloss lived in Tangiers, and he knew all these people. He knew like.
Wait a minute. I heard that Rabbi Schloss was the cook at the Beatles Love.
He wasn't the cook. He had a microbiotic restaurant in the village, and he had people like that come into his restaurant all the time. And at one point when he became religious, he kosherized his plates, and obviously it's microbiotic, so there's nothing really to there's no issues with kosher. And so he says on one side of the restaurant, on one wall he had like the Rebbe and all these like religious figures, and the other side he had like all these rockers pictures. It was very funny.
I thought that it was Abisera, who was the Rebbe's whistler, who was like a macrobiotic guru.
Maybe they worked together. I don't know, but this guy had he had a restaurant called the Cauldron. That's Rebbe Schloss. That was his restaurant. It was on 2nd Street or something like that, 5th Street, one of these. For a very long time.
When I was my year in Kfar Chabad, I was good friends with his son Yehuda.
Yeah, he's a chef. He's a chef, I think, right? Is that the guy?
I don't know. So
one of his sons owns the restaurant in Crown Heights. What is it called? Allenby. It's very overpriced, but whatever.
I don't know. So I hung out with him for like an entire year, right? Mm-hmm. And then also I saw him one time when he came to. He came with we had a mutual friend, Ali Brotchandler. He's like son of a rich guy, rich Lubavitcher in Jerusalem, and so we hung out for like an entire year. And then like when I moved down to Miami, right, like in 2006 or 2000, no, it was 2007. When I called him up, he acted like he didn't remember me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It happens, man. Some of these people, they know a lot of people. I don't know.
No, I mean, I was like, I don't think I was that hurt because I got used to the idea that I'm not going to keep in touch with any of these yeshiva guys.
Yeah, I hear.
So the only guy I consistently kept in touch with from yeshiva is Maximov.
I don't know. Yeah, you keep telling me about this guy.
He was my roommate.
I never met the guy.
Good guy. Yeah. His little brother died from COVID.
Oh, how old was he?
He was a couple of years younger than us.
Well, was he like had any obese or anything like that?
Yeah, he was obese.
I'm listening to this McCullough thing on Rogan.
On Rogan?
Yeah, and McCullough.
I don't want to listen to the whole thing,
No.
Did you find the place where he talked about my brother? That's all I care about.
I didn't get to there because it's almost a 3-hour thing. I didn't get there yet. I'm on like almost an hour in. Dude, the most startling thing, and I know this is a fact, but it's crazy to hear it out loud. Out of all these talented doctors, out of all these amazing, medical programs and universities and hospitals and this, there is not one effing place that has pre-hospital protocol treatment for people.
Yeah.
Not one. What in the actual F?
we understood what
I understand. Let's say you take away the whole thing of they're just trying to kill us. Like
why? That's what's happening. You can't take that away.
I mean, you can't take it away. No, let's just say no. Let's just say in a parallel universe. Let's just say there's a parallel universe where they're just schmucks. Right? They're just schmuck. It's a schmuckville.
Yeah.
In Schmuckville, how would this happen? Is it just like he's trying to explain it? You know, he's trying to like just keep it medical, and he's trying to dance around because Joe's trying to press him for like deeper. You know, what do you think the reason? He keeps asking over and over. What do you really think the reason is? And then he gives him an answer, medical data, whatever. And then again, but what do you really think the reason? It just keeps going over and over like that. So it's like. There is no the reason we can come up with, right? Maybe he just keeps saying every so often he says incompetence. It's incompetence. No, anymore it can't be.
He's trying to hold on.
Yeah, it's like because he doesn't want to deal. You know, it's enough that he's already being like slandered, but it's just my goodness. No, listen, like I do personally know doctors. I mean, who do, you know, obviously we know that. We know even doctors in hospitals who do prescribe it to people.
It's not official anywhere. That's all.
It's not. Yeah, it's just not official. It's done. It's being done either in a hospital. But when it's done in a hospital, it's already too late, right? Well, ivermectin, it's not too late actually because they've given ivermectin people on deathbeds and it saved them.
They gave people hydroxychloroquine on deathbeds too. It's this. Look, I just want to. This is a reminder. This is important. Yeah. The only use that ivermectin plays, the only role that it plays at all, is delivering zinc into the cell.
Yeah.
The only role that hydroxychloroquine plays is delivering zinc into the cell.
These are delivery systems. Yeah.
That's it. Ivermectin has no other role except for that. It just does it in a slightly different way than hydroxychloroquine does. Yeah. That's the only difference. Yeah. They both get the job done.
Yeah. No, so it's like it's
never a bad idea to put out a fire, right? But, so the idea is like it's never too late because if a person has the virus and they let the virus run rampant in their body, destroying tissue.
Yeah.
So now there's infections and inflammation. So if you let it continue, it's just going to create more infections and inflammation, harder to deal with. Yeah. So you always have to kill the virus. It doesn't matter what stage you're at. Yeah. It's never too late.
By the way, he did mention just like in passing in the first 30 minutes about how there's like hydroxychloroquine factories that were like I think in China or somewhere in Taiwan, that were just like burned and there was like vandals. There was like mercenaries sent to just like obliterate this place. I just remember like in the beginning of this thing, I kept reading every so often, fire in this factory, fire, you know, like fire, just random fires, and like this Chinese factory went on fire, India factory, you know, like just I'm like wondering like interesting. And nobody asked anything. No questions. Nobody. It's very interesting. Like Bibi ordered 2 million pills. What is it? Your brother said that, right?
Yeah.
He ordered 2 million pills, and then you know the factory, and then like nobody knows what happened. Like I mean, it went to the streets. Like that's how I got ivermectin from my friend in the Chlot. Like.
It's unbelievable.
Where do these places get their HCQ? The ones in the States, the ones that give them out. They fill prescriptions.
I think it's called
Plaquenil, yeah.
Let's see who develops Plaquenil. A second.
No, what I mean is like, so it'll just be like regularly sold.
I don't understand.
No, I'm saying like supposedly it's like they ban, you know, like not every pharmacy gives it out, so it's like only certain ones. So where do they the ones that give it out? Where do, you know, the ones that will fill it? Where do they get? You know. Where do they get their
so every pharmacy gives it out. They just don't give it out for COVID.
Mm-hmm.
like, because there's other reasons why people use it. There's rheumatoid arthritis people.
Yeah.
There's, people who take it, for malaria. They're traveling abroad. There's a number of reasons that people take it. It just can't be prescribed for coke.
It's a company called Sanofi. Here. Manufactures hydroxychloroquine, chloroquine, and azithromycin. Interesting. It's the same people that make, what's it called? Z-Pack. Here. What's interesting? There was an article in Reuters here. April 20th, 2020. Sanofi can produce millions of doses of potential coronavirus drug. Sanofi SA. It's a company. Yep. Where is this company based? France. Yeah, there was a whole thing, and they were saying. He was saying, McCullough. He's like, how did Australia know to ban hydroxychloroquine before any study was even conducted? Good or bad? Good or bad study. Bad result or good result. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Look, these guys, he's trying to be careful.
Yeah.
Because he wants to be able to go back to normal.
Yeah.
If the bad guys win. Right.
What does the bad guys winning look like?
Everybody who they want dies, or that's the best case scenario for the bad guys, or it didn't work out the way they wanted it, okay. and then we try to go back to this, quote unquote normal before the plan went into action.
But obviously we can't. We won't be able to.
I'm hoping that that's the case.
Do you know what I'm saying? No, even if we let's just say this thing dissipates, and then it's going to be as Bill Gates says, right? He's saying it's just going to be a thing. Yeah, it's just going to be a thing where Omicron comes back every winter, right? That's the best case scenario according to him. According to his whatever pandemic.
Yeah, I forgot that he went to virology school.
Yeah, exactly. So. Well, listen, geniuses are, we have to listen to geniuses, come on, what's wrong with you?
I thought he was a college dropout.
He is a college dropout, but he's the guy that made a program that has inherent viruses, and then what did he do? He sold you the antivirus to it, and that antivirus has Trojan horse, aka side effects. And he did this for 30 years. He's still doing it.
Okay, so let's read Wikipedia. Bill Gates Sr.
Okay, and what do you want to find? What do you want me to look for?
No, I don't want to find anything. I'm just curious. All right, let's see.
Okay.
Gates served in the U.S. Army for 3 years during World War II.
What?
His father. This is his father.
Oh, his father. I didn't really.
So Gates. Okay. Yeah. So Gates served. Okay, he was in the U.S. Army for 3 years during World War II. Okay. After that, he attended the University of Washington under the GI Bill, and he got a BA, doesn't say what, and a JD degree. Okay, while at UW, he was a member of Chi Psi fraternity. That'd be interesting. Career: Gates co-founded the law firm Schindler, McBroom, and Gates in 1964, which later became a part of the Preston Gates and Ellis LLP. Okay. He practiced with the firm until 1998, when it merged into the firm known as K&L Gates. During his career, he served as president of both the Seattle King County Bar Association and Washington State Association. Gates served on the boards of numerous organizations,
Planned Parenthood,
including the Greater Seattle Chamber of Commerce, King County United Way, Planned Parenthood. There we go.
Yeah.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah. Makes sense.
United Way and Planned Parenthood. In 1995, he founded the Technology Alliance, whose mission is to expand technology-based employment in Washington. 1998, Gates retired from the Preston Gates and Ellis. He served for 15 years on the Board of Regents for the University of Washington, and until his death was a co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which his son Bill and his daughter-in-law Melinda founded. So he served as director for the bulk retail corporation Costco from 2003 and was a founding co-chair of Pacific Health Summit. He served as honorary chair for the World Justice Project. The project works to lead a global multidisciplinary effort to strengthen the rule of law for the development of communities of opportunity and equity. Gates co-authored the book Wealth and Our Commonwealth, Why America Should Tax Accumulated Fortunes, with Chuck Collins. It is a defense of the policies promoted by the estate tax.
Yeah.
I'm
looking at this World Justice Project, and it was founded by two people. This guy Bill Newcomb, who's still alive, and William C. Hubbard. They're lawyers.
Yeah.
And they wanted to reform the justice system, this and that. Interesting.
You know what the most bizarre thing is?
Listen to this. Real quick, listen to this. Bill Newcomb, legal career at Microsoft. He served as a clerk for Judge Theodore Turner, In 1970, he joined Seattle law firm blah blah blah, Schindler, McBroom, Gates, Lucas. Newcomb's relationship with Microsoft began in 1978 when managing partner Bill Gates Sr. asked him to advise his son's fledgling software business. Newcomb started doing legal work for Microsoft when the company had just 12 employees. He would continue to be Microsoft's lead legal counsel for nearly 25 years. He joined Microsoft as an employee in 1985, therefore built its corporate law department from an initial staff of 5 to more than 600 attorneys and support personnel. He became Executive VP at Microsoft. He spent 17 years Microsoft General Counsel. So basically, he was involved in this whole antitrust. Yeah, most notably Apple versus Microsoft, intellectual property. Son of a gun.
You know what the most surprising thing is? Just it seems so out of place, yet it makes so much sense.
What?
He serves as a director for the bulk retail corporation, Costco Wholesale.
Yeah.
And it's kind of similar. You know, it's like why is Bill Gates like buying up farm land? And why is his father involved in bulk retail?
And how is Microsoft sold? It comes already built in. If you're any non-Mac computer, PC, you have it there. You don't even have a choice. If you want to get like another operating system, you have to install it on your own. You know, Linux, whatever it is.
Yeah, he was high up.
Yeah.
In Planned Parenthood, and that's really what we're focusing on here. Mm-hmm. So I've heard rumors that he was actually an intelligence operative, his father, connected to three-letter agencies in the within Pentagon and stuff like that. So
listen, if Ghislaine's dad worked for Mossad and got buried in Mount of Olives by Perez and Shamir, then
is that really true? Is that right?
It actually is true.
Sickening.
There's a photo. No, it's not so sad. You know what he did, right? For Mossad, he went around the world, especially Soviet Union and all the Eastern Bloc countries. He would sell is a thing called Promise without an E. It's a software. Here. Here. 1 second. Basically, a Prosecutor's Management Information System was a case management software developed by INSLAW, former Institute for Law and Social Research, a non-profit organization in 1973. The software program was developed with aid from Law Enforcement Assistance Administration to aid prosecutors' offices in tracking. In 1982, by which time INSLAW became for-profit, INSLAW received $10 million contract by the Justice Department to develop an improved promise application for U.S. Attorney's Office. So basically this thing, like, it created like this supra system to track people and in any language, and basically what's his name, Maxwell did, he found, like, he got some, Mossad basically hired some programmer to install what's called a trapdoor chip, so that whenever, let's say, I don't know, Bulgaria is monitoring some like dissidents, Israel is able to see whatever is being monitored. They can look in the looking glass and see what's being seen by the people that they sold this thing to. And Maxwell obviously he used his profile as the media guy And also, like a businessman, he flew over the world, made relationships, and he sold this thing to all these countries that were, some of them were like, they're like enemies of Israel,
Right.
or they're arming Arab countries, whatever it is. Actually, and he was instrumental in getting 300,000 Soviet Jews out of Soviet Union. Some of them went to America, some went to Israel.
So what happened to his daughter?
Well, it's not a question of what happened. It's a question of, let's think about another aspect that could have been. He probably, because he wined and dined with everybody, so he probably Mossad was already creating some sort of, blackmail Rolodex at that time on people, and I think that, his daughter and then Epstein was probably recruited because you wonder where the hell nobody knows where Epstein got his money, right? And Epstein's main client, so to speak, was the guy who ran, who founded, what's it called, Wexner, Victoria's Secret and stuff. So it's like, they probably just upped the ante with that whole thing. After he was killed, Maxwell was killed by Mossad. They killed him, they assassinated him on a boat.
Mossad killed him?
Yes, correct. Why? Because what did he do? He got into crazy debt in his businesses, in his his publishing. He did Daily Mirror. That was his newspaper. So what did he do? He came to the Mossad and he's like, well, I did all this stuff for you, dude. This is something I read in this what's it called, the book about him. He's like, I did all this stuff for you, and so give me, I don't know, $400 million, or I'm gonna release all the stuff that you guys are doing. Like, I'm basically gonna like rat you out. And so they were like...
So then it goes back to, why was he buried at the Mount of Olives?
At the end of the day, he helped Israel. So, what's his face gave the Hesped, Peres. Shamir were there. He was given a state funeral by Israel, dude. There's pictures of this. There's photos of this.
What an embarrassing circus.
Yeah, and he's buried on Har Zitim. And 1991, and what's it called? So I think some variation of continuing that work. Oh, in the book, it shows how he met Ehud Barak, and you saw the famous picture of Ehud Barak coming out of Epstein's office, Epstein's house in the city. Like what the hell's Ehud Barak doing?
Yeah, I think I saw something. Like that,
he's wearing like this hat, and he's trying to keep not to be detected. Like what the hell's Ehud Barak doing in? And who got his photos? It was a British newspaper that took his photos.
How about Bill Gates hanging out with Epstein all the time?
Yeah, there's a picture of him. And then they asked Bill Gates, like, what are you speaking of Bill Gates? Oh, what about this? What about that? He's like, well, he said he's dead, so what does it matter? He's sitting there squirming in his chair on CNN. On the camera. Here you go.
My point.
This is incredible.
The point that I was trying to bring up was that Gates, right? We started Gates was, they tell you this like, George Washington chopped down the cherry tree story, right? Like Dedushka Lenin.
Yeah.
All these kind of like bullshit little stories, right? That they tell you how somebody got started and how they made it big. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Bill Gates was just some dorky college kid who made it big from something that he made in his basement or something, or his garage.
BS.
Forget the fact that his father was a high-powered attorney on the board of Planned Parenthood, involved in every.
They basically made a system to track us in our computers and give us freaking virus and antivirus and Trojan horses.
You know what I mean? So the guy is obviously Microsoft is a 3-letter agency operation.
It's a front
from the beginning.
It's a front. Yeah. That's one part.
And probably so is and any one of these companies
Apple,
that all of them are.
That's crazy. IBM was with the Nazis. So that we know. It's like so what happens then? Like what nobody should be using computers?
No, I think like the idea is this is the Sitra Achra gets it first, right?
Yeah.
So we have to take over. That's all.
Yeah.
Like just flood it with kedusha.
Yeah.
more content, more Jewish content,
meaning there's
more
a guy
Torah.
sitting, let's say in Aish Torah, and he is using Microsoft, but Excel, whatever it is, but he's doing, he's sending out Hesed payments.
Yeah, he's just use the you could take it and just reclaim it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like very interesting metaphor to when Klal Yisrael entered into Canaan, right? When they what's the word? They conquered the area, right? And then the houses were already there. They didn't have to build any of the infrastructure. All the cities and the houses were already built up. The farms were planted. The Canaanites were like incredible at all that kind of stuff. Like they probably looked like Japan when they got there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everything was already set up for them. They just conquered it and claimed it for themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was a gift.
Yeah.
Like God said, like these people took these gifts, they used it for evil.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm driving them out of the land, and you will take those gifts that I sent to them, and then reclaim them for what their purpose truly is.
Yeah.
And it's a similar idea to reclaim these mediums.
Yeah, mediums. Yeah.
Mediums. Yeah.
Can I read to you? Speaking of which, speaking of that, the woman that transcribes Rabbi Kessin's lecture, she just wrote a synopsis for the recent one, the 10th of Tevis one. Actually, this is pretty crazy.
We got to help her. We got to help her get rid of her communist ways.
She doesn't have. Here's the thing. She's again doing this thing. A friend of mine does the same thing, to where she's already going to the era of Mashiach, where these kind of ideas, or some version of these ideas, can actually play out. She doesn't understand that that the world that we live in as it is today, you always need, or it's not that you always need, this kind of a system breeds the necessity for the totalitarian in every sphere of life.
For an aristocracy.
Yeah, she doesn't understand that, mainly because, meaning she's operating strictly off of her very, very supposed deep knowledge of the theory. She doesn't understand that because she never lived it in practice. And she's saying, well, these people are whatever. They're attributing whatever they lived. It's like this. You're just traumatized kind of thing. No, she doesn't understand that everywhere it's been done, it's always kind of some version of the same result.
It's like Norm Macdonald when with the moth joke.
Yeah.
Where he goes, Conan's like, well, where'd you get your joke?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I got it from my driver. He goes, your driver told you a joke? He goes, why don't we just have him come and tell? He goes, no, wait till you hear me say it.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
All those guys, they didn't know how to do it.
Exactly.
Give me a shot. I'll get it right.
Yeah. Or don't misattribute. Don't call that this word. Don't call that communism, because that's not what that is.
Misrepresentation. Right.
So listen to this.
So what I told her was that communism is it would be unnecessary in an environment where you have infinite resources.
Uh-huh.
There's no reason for any economic system at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead, continue.
No, so she wrote the synopsis. This is what Rabbi Kessin essentially said. This is an excerpt. I believe God will begin the process before the end of the tikkun. He won't be able to hold himself back, so to speak. This is the Rachamim Gedolim for Akab Sech. I don't know what that is. Tremendous mercy that speaks to that 1 second I will abandon you, and with incredible mercy I will gather you. It is that tremendous mercy which tells us that even before the tikkun is completed, God will have said, enough is enough, I'm the boss, and I declare that it's over, and it's over. This is what we await when God has had enough of the sinning, the relentless rebellion of mankind going against his will and against the Jewish people. That's when it's going to happen. He's going to be fed up with the whole process and end it. He wants to end it now.
So end it, please, Hashem.
Yeah, so there's this whole here. He's talking about, I'm just going to read a little bit of this. We know that what the historical story is, the surrounding of Beit HaMikdash, Holy Temple by Nebuchadnezzar. the beginning of the siege, which culminated the ninth of month of Av with the destruction of the temple itself. But like other disasters, the beginnings are always the most terrible time because that's when the Gzeira is. You can almost say the 10th of Teves, due to that decree, is the real decree of the destruction. Once the siege began, once that decree took effect, it was just a matter of time. So what accounts for the severity of the decree? In many ways, it's fascinating and involves a tremendous tragedy. We know that the world needs tikkun, repair, rectification. God created Olam Hazeh, the physical world devoid of revelation of God's presence, where that rectification can occur. This is the real purpose of creation. There is also an entire spiritual dimension, God behind, quote unquote, the world we know. God wants his rectification to restore his presence, that it should be apparent in this world. When the presence of God will be revealed, that will be the tikkun, the actual repair. We know that the state of tikkun will be the messianic era. Tikkun is a process that consists of doing the will of God, which is to observe the Torah, and therefore mitzvot, commandments. If they are not done or violated, then there's an act of repentance. That too is not done. There's Yisurin, suffering. These are the tikkun devices, quote unquote. With all three, the world can have this rectification. So now he goes into, he assigns specific nations to be responsible for administering the tikkun in times of suffering. The Jewish nation is the agent of tikkun, the nation chosen for this task. Therefore, the 8 prosecutorial agents cause their suffering when they sin. There are 8 of these prosecutorial agents, nations assigned the task. Egypt, Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome. And the final 3 are Ishmael, Muslims, Amalek, probably the worst, and Arab, Jews who diminish the unique character of Jews by demonstrating the Jewish uniqueness is not Torah, but culture. A bit more about the Arab. It's not that they want to eradicate Judaism itself. It's true, they don't. Instead, they reduce its significance by treating it as a culture, not a spiritual quest or demand or journey. Therefore, for them, we are like
not Judaism, but Jewishness.
Yeah,
the identity of Jewishness.
Or this guy, this guy, the guy who does what is it called? A beer. He calls it Jew. He's like Judge Judaism. This is not Judaism. Judge Judy.
Right.
Besides begin. Oh. I think it's a typo. Agents of suffering. These nations provide, being agents of suffering. They provide environments that, when the Jews are in them, provide the test that Jews must pass, quote unquote. Environments to be overcome in terms of their influence, their enticements that could cause the Jews to turn from God, be led astray. These are environments in which the Jews' devotion to God, to spirituality is tested. This is part of the tikkun. Let's start with the environment of Bavel. It was a very spiritual conscious nation, but the spirituality was a deity conscious in its paganism, polytheism. Even a pagan can be spiritual. The Jews find themselves in Babylon, a pagan civilization. The next is to test the resolve to remain faithful to God and to persecute them if they failed was Persia. Persia was known for its tremendous involvement with pleasure. We find the Megillat...
But devoid of spirituality.
No, we find Megillat Esther. That Ahasuerus throws an elaborate Suda feast which persists for many months. The Jews were to withstand the temptations of hedonism. Greece offered Chokhmah, wisdom, beauty in the form of philosophy, art. We're all familiar with Aristotle, Socrates, architecture, science, literature. Rome embraces the advances of the previous 3 and offers an advanced civilization, one that endured for at least 1,000 years, the greatest nation on earth. To the Jews,
I want to stop you.
Okay.
Because Rabbi Kessin himself, that exact model he uses to explain the Sitra Achra. And the 4 klippot that exist, right? And then you have klippat noga, and then the shalosh klippot hatameh, right? So the 3 unredeemable or unupliftable klippot. So we start with the first klippa is bavel, because it's a mix of good and bad, right? Because they have an idea of spirituality, they have an idea of divine law, and they're aware that there's something more. And they're very involved in that. Yeah. Okay, I mean, they got it wrong, but they were hyper involved in that. Okay? Then the Persians, they were not really, I mean, they had some ideas, but they were not primarily focused on that. They were primarily focused on commerce and on pleasurable worldly things. They were very decadent in terms of their idea. Even the Greeks actually accused them of their decadence. So that was their nature. So they didn't have the spirituality. So that's like removing the redeemable part and just being left with the bad. You understand? So now there is a space where Well, you could look at it like this: you took the good part, whatever was good about Babylon, you took that out, and then what you're left with is Persia. Now there's a space, a vacuum, right? So basically, when you get to Greece, right? Greece is the entrance of something bad. Okay, so Persia was kind of like it represented a blank, an empty space. Okay, so then you had the true alternative to the spiritual reality, which was the Greek perspective, right? So that entered into the vacuum. Okay, but at that point, it was still like a kind of like a condensed cloud. It didn't take up the entire space. Rome took the Greek concept of the world and spread it all around the space. So it's a step-by-step process as to how the Sitra Achra takes over. Yeah. Okay, so he used the same model to explain that.
Yeah. So he goes on to like talk about Ishmael. He says, we now begin to encounter a change in Jewish history of subjugation, beginning with Babylon, but continuing with subjugation by other nations of the world. It is the entry into the Klipa, there you go, manifesting in the loss of independence, being subject to domination of other nations. Babel, Persia, Greece, ultimately Rome, which, as I said many times, is Edom, combined, which became Christianity in Western Civ. The Jews, from that point, became exposed to enticing cultures of these nations, their value systems, which they must withstand. In doing so, the Tikkun is advanced. What is interesting, too, is that the Tikkun is now exhibited also by other nations. They, too, contribute to the process, as we see. In examining the ideas about Tikkun, we note that Adam Arishon and the inception of mankind is monotheistic. The concept of polytheism or paganism, both of which have many deities, had not yet entered the consciousness of mankind. Eventually, however, it would. The Rambam reasons as to why and how polytheism originated. He says that the people of the world became confused. They realized that there was one deity, but also thought of God had many emissaries, deputies to do his will, quote unquote. Eventually, these deputies, to whom people attributed much power, became all powerful when people confused them with God himself. They began worshipping the emissaries, whether they were planets, stars, or whatever they made up. As time progressed, these emissaries, these forces were deified and paganism was born. With this, the world changed. With the entry of Rome and its adoption of Christianity, there was a return to a relative form of monotheism, the deviation being that only that one deity is divided into three. It's not a cavalcade of gods, so it's an improvement on paganism. Then comes Islam, which is monotheistic, but it corrupted the notion of prophecy because it established Muhammad as the greatest and last prophet, greater than Moshe. The world improves in the sense that it moves closer to monotheism again. We begin to see that Rome, which is Edom, manifestation of Esau under Christianity, begins to propagate the idea that there is one God. There's an end to this world. There's a concept of a Messiah. Before Christianity, the world was unaware of a messianic future. They believed that the world would continue ad infinitum. Christianity introduced the concept of a messianic age. This was an improvement. Interesting. I never heard that take. The Rambam. This I heard before. Rambam says that one of the purposes of Christianity was to spread Judaic concepts. They spread the concept of Torah, which they refer to as the Old Testament. Christianity brought Torah to the entire world via the substantial worldwide missionary campaigns. But until then, the Bible was something only the Jews had. As Rambam says, Christianity was chosen by God to bring Judaic concepts to mankind. The Jews should have been the ones to accomplish this, but due to their sins, I think Rabbi, his brothers did give a whole thing on this. Due to their sins, the Jews were relegated to a more basic level of the rectification process. Their task became to resist temptations of the nations, resist their values, and, for example, assimilation, which, unfortunately, is happening today. They must fulfill the commandments and withstand temptation. If they fail, God reminds them by allowing these nations to persecute them. This is the function of the exile, maintain Judaism despite temptation and persecution. But now we see that the exile is actually killing. Like, there's intermarriage, and the only place that you can stop intermarriage, even if you're not religious, is actually Israel. That's the last, 20 years. That's my touch on that. The nations of the world, as explained, contributed to Tikkun by introducing ideas which are serious truths that previously were obscured. The established system was started by 10th of Teves because the entry to the Klipa into Babylon and the subjugation of nations began at the siege of Jerusalem. What follows is the destruction and ensuing exiles. Yeah, the Greek contribution to Tikkun is that it provided the world with chokhmah, logic, philosophy, and even though there are aspects of which are anti-Torah, there is no doubt about that. The basis of a lot of their chokhmah, their science, their philosophical inquiries do introduce a person to truth, that there is actually emes in the world. Their wisdom appropriates the means by which to discern the distinction between what is true and what is not. As such, it is an advance in the messianic, like you said, like math, right? So how do we, like they cornered that market on math and numbers and all these kind of things.
I wouldn't say that, but they definitely, in terms of when the Western world thinks about math,
Yeah.
they turn to the Greeks. That's what they remember.
Yeah. It says that Rome, in terms of Christianity, provided for the growth of Torah-based ideas, even when distorted. When you consider Christianity's founder, his crucifixion as a criminal, what are the odds that this individual will be crucified as a criminal for having violated Roman law because he declared himself to be Messiah, King of the Jews, and would be the founder of a religion that has 2 billion, he's the founder of it, whatever, 2 billion adherents. Christianity, in many ways, is one of the most significant moves in religion in world history. What are the odds? There are none. The reason Ribono Shel Olam, Master of the World, allowed Christianity to grow beyond natural means, in fact, Rome became Christian only 300 years after its founder died, because of Jews started spreading it, and Christians were persecuted at the beginning because they were all Jews. It's like, what's to accomplish the spreading of Torah ideas? Despite persecution of early Christians, the entire Roman Empire eventually became Christian under Constantine, about 325 CE. The Jews then became occupied in the Tikkun process in their own way. As I mentioned, someone had to take on the mission of spreading Torah throughout the world, the spread of monotheism. This became the mission of the Goyim. This is sad because it means the job of influencing the world has been given over to another people, another religion. That's terrible. One thing that God allowed was to have the Torah translated into Greek. 70 sages were gathered to write the Torah in Greek, and this version called the Septuagint, which translated literally means the 70. That event is looked upon by Judaism as a terrible event. Why? It allowed non-Jews to access the Torah, thereby enabling distortions, which is what they've done to enable Christianity to be legitimized. They claim references to their founder all over the Torah, which is, of course, absurd. And that's what Rabbi Tobias Singer is working, to fight. Besides that, they can claim it as their own. From Greek, it made its way to English, the King James Version, and many others. Regarding 10th of Teves, marking the beginning of the entry into the Klippa and the Shibud, exile.
Can I stop you for a moment?
Sure.
I just wanted to say that for Christians, any Christians that might be listening to this, I won't tell you. I won't argue with you about doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
But I do request one thing from all Christians, which I believe would solve the problem from the beginning. Learn Hebrew, read the Hebrew scripture in the language that God gave it in.
A lot of people are doing that. Tons of people in America are doing that right now.
Not nearly enough.
Not enough, yeah.
Not the majority, not even a big minority.
That's true.
Okay? So that would seriously a lot of the misconceptions and misunderstandings would disappear by that alone. And that's why the church fathers were so against people learning. They promoted translations, very, very bad translations, in order to maintain misunderstandings.
No.
That's it.
By the way, this is really interesting. He gets into here. He says, at the end of time, he says, wants the world to reach the truth, and the world has been going in that direction. The only part of the world that doesn't move in that direction is the Far East. Hinduism, which is interesting, but I want to speak to that. Hinduism, classic avodah zarah, idol worship. And I want to mention actually Rabbi Schloss in this. It's a story of Rabbi Schloss. Even Buddhism as practiced today is so. But Western Civ is greatly knowledgeable about the Bible. In fact, the Torah, the Bible itself, is the most published book in the history of publishing. That shows you the pervasiveness of the Torah throughout the world. So, the 9th of Teves being the beginning of both pervasive access and distortion, followed by the 10th with the siege of Jerusalem. The 10th of Teves marks the beginning of exile and fulfillment of its purpose. It is, from the Jews' perspective, a terrible day because it meant that the Jews no longer had complete access, that they lost their exclusivity in accomplishing tikkun due to unworthiness. Ultimately, this task will return to them during the Messianic era. During the Messianic era, once the tikkun has been completed, the Jews will be the ones to reveal and broadcast the truth of Torah. It is noteworthy that even these nations contribute to tikkun, Though it doesn't always appear that way, they still maintain much of the evil that they do. Looking at Rome, derived from Esav, who was Baal Taiva, pleasure seeker, and Roseach, a murderer, we see that they maintain many of these characteristics. I feel that the concept of pro-choice, which is infanticide, the killing of unborn babies, is part of the murderous aspect of Esav. How can a human being terminate a life, justifying it with the argument that it is yet to be born or is just born, allowing women to exterminate their babies? Abortion is legalized murder. How could there be such a trait in a civilized society? The problem is that it is the trait of Esav, Tafka. It is astonishing that one of the worst offenders, the greatest advocate of infanticide, is President Biden. He promotes death of the unborn anytime, any place, any reason. He should have been excommunicated by the church. There was a convention of bishops recently. They took up that issue and should have excommunicated Biden because even according to their religion, the pro-choice position is a mortal sin and against the teachings of Christianity. Here's the President of the United States, one of the most ardent supporters of infanticide. The bishops didn't do it. Biden met with Pope Francis and nothing was said. The Pope told the bishops to lay off Biden, not to say or do anything against him. How does the Pope allow somebody to commit a mortal sin? That's Esav, you see. It's shocking when you think about it. So even though Christianity does contribute to Tikkun process, making known the concepts of Gehenna, purgatory, messianism, heaven, importance of righteousness, doing the will of God, the value of charity, and this is all well and good, but they are still prone to evil. So the 10th of Teves marks the beginning of the Jews' way of doing Tikkun through resisting temptation and assimilation. Having lost their exclusivity, the transfer of their task went to the Gentiles, chiefly through the spread of popularity of Christianity. Dude, I just want to say one quick thing about, Rabbi Schloss, he grew up Litvak, or just, or mainstream Orthodox. The first time he ever went to a Hasidus class, that some guy came into his restaurant and invited him to his Hasidus class. After the Hasidus class, Rabbi Schloss said, "Are you sure this is Judaism? It sounds more like Buddhism."
Right.
That's what he said. So like, Rabbi Kessin, I feel like he's omitting the gifts to the East here.
I don't know if he is omitting it. I think he's just maybe omitting what their role is in spreading the idea of the Messiah.
Because they don't really have a role in that respect.
Right.
All they're talking about is just like, okay, the soul lives forever, and okay, we get it.
You know how I look at it? So you have, let's talk about the Goyim, right? What are Goyim? The nations.
Goyim.
Right?
Goyim annoying.
No, but hang on. So basically, you have three branches of Abraham's family that are involved in the Tikkun process. That are, let's say, they are connected, right? So they are connected to Yisrael. They all have a place in the Tikkun process. They have covenants with God. Okay, so you have Yaakov, Esav, and Yishmael, right? That's a huge portion of the world. Okay, you could say that's like, I don't know, not three quarters. It's a quarter of the world or a third of the world. Okay, now you have the peoples of Africa and the peoples of Asia, right? South of Southeast Asia and East Asia, right? That make up the rest of the majority of people of the world. That would be the Gentiles.
Right.
Like, just from a big perspective, you know what I mean? From like because when you have three branches of Abraham's family involved in the Tikkun process, right? So even though they're technically, this whole idea of, by the way, this word Gentile, right? That's a Catholic word. The Catholics came up with that idea to distinguish themselves from Jews.
Yeah, we didn't come up with it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we didn't come up. Right. So it's important. That's important to understand. So basically, that's who we're supposed to influence. Like, who is our audience? Like, who are we doing this for? Right? Who are we trying to reconnect to the body of Adam and the consciousness of Adam? Right? India, China, Africa.
Yeah. Interesting.
The Americas, right?
Yeah.
So because everybody else is family, essentially.
Yeah.
Everybody's family. Because even like the six, if you go to India and Asia, right, like that's highly influenced by the sons of Keturah and Abraham.
Yeah.
Right, but the vast majority, like, the actual like people who are the majority of people? Are the majority of people connected to the family of Abraham? Like, in that respect, maybe not.
Yeah.
But a huge amount are, right? Like really huge.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's not a fully formed thought.
Huh.
It's just I'm just kind of like, it's like we're doing all this stuff. We're doing the tikkun, but who are we doing it on? Like we're doing it on each other.
Yeah.
Like it's very like it's very incestuous.
Yeah.
Right. It's like it's not really like so. Esav.
What do you think about this whole thing?
In the east, Esav in the west.
He says Rabbi Kessin said that like Esav's mazal ends on Tu B'Shvat. What is that all about?
What do you mean, like every year, or this Tu B'Shvat coming up?
I don't know.
Who said that?
Rabbi Kessin, unless it's supposed to be Tu B'Av, unless this person made a mistake.
Would you mind getting in touch with him?
I'll ask him about that. No.
Dude, you know what that lady? You know what the lady who
yeah.
What was her name? The one who does the transcript?
Rachel. Yeah.
What's her name?
Rachel.
Oh, Rachel. She told me that Rabbi Kessin and Rabbi Wolf know each other.
Yeah, they do. They talk. Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, they know each other, of course.
Mind blown.
Yeah. And Rabbi Kessin's kind of like not so impressed, not with Rabbi Wolf, not Rabbi what's his name, Weisberg. Because he says like, yeah, he's kind of like mimicking my stuff or something like that.
I seriously doubt that Rabbi Kessin is familiar with all the nuances of the things that Rabbi Weisberg is talking about. The reason I'm saying that is because I get the sense that he just won't look at it.
Yeah, no, he doesn't have the internet.
It's not even that. No, it's just he won't look at the material, even if you brought it to him
because he's in his own
with
realm.
A projector and with a presentation board.
He's in his own realm. Listen, they're in their own. They operate in their own realms, which I think is not so good. But whatever, it is what it is.
It's not. I think Rabbi Weisberg is. He has some insight which neither Rabbi Wolf or Rabbi Kessin have. He has his personal connection to the Rebbe.
True.
Yeah.
He
edited some of the Likutei Sichos. There's some stuff that was that only him and like one other guy, Zelikson, was privy to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody can contend with that. But
speaking of connection, my friend just posted a meme. And it says, my ability to remember song lyrics from the 80s far exceeds my ability to remember why I walked into the kitchen.
I'm the same way.
Mm-hmm. Huh.
I remember things from when I was 3 years old much more vividly than my own wedding.
Really? Where was your wedding?
Yeah.
Ochel Torah?
My wedding was... The chuppah was at 770.
Really? Wow.
And the actual like wedding reception, whatever they call it, party was actually on Avenue S and East 9th.
What was this place?
Avenue T and East 9th.
What was this place?
It's a Syrian Lebanese catering hall.
That is absolutely hilarious.
But it was around the corner from my parents' house.
Interesting.
Huh. So they gave me such hell. I cannot tell you the amount of...
Who, your parents or the place?
I'm talking about like, because... No, nobody gave me hell about having the reception on Avenue T.
Okay.
The amount of obstacles, the amount of pushback I had from having the chuppah at 770, I cannot relate to you in words.
Who gave you pushback? Who gave you?
It was literally everybody.
Everybody's who?
From family, from every side, from her side, from my side, from her.
From her side? Her side's Lubavitch.
It was about it was inconvenient to have a chuppah in one part of Brooklyn and then go to the party in the other part of Brooklyn.
Oh gosh, seriously.
Do you understand? Like they're just like, why can't you just have? Because like, you know, to me, like I didn't really consider myself a Lubavitcher at that point. I just knew the Rebbe was my Rebbe. That's all.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have a beard. I wasn't planning on having one.
Yeah.
And you know, I didn't do Chabad Minhagim. Like I didn't put on Rabbeinu Tams until I was like married.
Yeah.
I just knew that, you know, that's my capital.
Yeah.
That's my spiritual center.
Yeah.
Whatever, however you want to call it. Like you know, I didn't get into it. I didn't get into like the labels and the weeds.
Sure.
I did what I felt, and that's it.
Yeah. No, I hear. That's good. That's good.
I wasn't a Lubavitcher.
You're kind of like that guy.
That's
you know
it.
that there was this basketball coach that became Froome, and he used to go to those giant Fabringans, and he never, you know, he would always go, and he was like, you could spot him in the sea of black, but he wasn't dressed, you know, he was not a Lubavitcher. He was just like a guy that, you know, the Rebbe is my Rebbe. What was his name? The basketball I'll tell you. Here. This guy. Do you know what I'm talking about? Famous story. Here. Abe Sachs.
An Israeli basketball coach?
No. Abe Sachs, a high school basketball coach and former trainer with Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh.
Yeah, He basically like just became the Rebbe's like biggest fan, but he was not. He came to every Farbrengen, but he wasn't a Lubavitcher. He was just the guy that's like that. This is my Rebbe. This is my Rebbe. You know.
You know, I was so bummed out when I was like 14, 15, like when I was first starting to get familiar with like, you know, with the Velt, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my first like, you know, like the people who I saw, like the religious guys that I saw most often were Syrians. Right? I didn't know that there was, you know, I didn't know that they looked at me like I was not one of them. Mm-hmm. Or some of them, I don't know. And I didn't know that Ashkenazi, I didn't understand the fractured nature. I thought you can go to any shul.
Yeah. No.
And just, you know, everybody and be Jewish.
You can, but I mean, today you can.
No,
but
you can. I just was surprised that there's even any elements that that's even a question to even somebody.
You didn't realize that we still have Shvatim after all these years, all these centuries. Sort of.
But we don't. We're not even Shvatim. We're the same Shevet.
I know. But
even
we've broken that Shevet into multiple hundreds of Shvatim. Maybe thousands.
Right. I didn't know that. It sucked all the life and all the enthusiasm out of me.
Oh, for sure. We're like that organism that is constantly doing reverse osmosis. Just splitting up and dividing within the divisions and within the sect, the splits. You know, and then there's like herring that plays into it. What kind of herring? What kind of cholent? What kind of rice? Idiocy.
Have you know, let's be honest. Like, look, the world is what it is. Like, we're you know, Gullus is Gullus.
No.
Okay. No. I didn't understand that because you would expect that people involved in Torah should be enlightened, right? You'd go to a, you know, but it didn't seem to. You wouldn't see that on a large scale. Like on a certain level, you know, the Jewish community is more adel than the rest of the people. Yep. Okay, fine, but not the level of spiritual enlightenment that you would expect, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, and then later, you know, you find out that most of the Frum community, they're not even learning the really enlightened material.
Yeah, they're not. And if they are, if they heard about it and you bring it up, they're like, oh, that, yeah, I kind of like, you know, they just kind of like poo-poo on it, or they, the mumbo, you know, I'm not getting into the hippie-jibby stuff, or the mumbo-jumbo stuff.
The oogie-boogie stuff.
Oogie-boogie stuff, like, what? You mean Judaism? You mean like Judaism?
The Eitz Chaim. They're not into it.
I just remember, dude, my first interview with my Rosh Yeshiva, Litvak guy. I didn't even know what that was at the time. I didn't understand these. I'm telling you, at that time, 2012, I didn't understand these rifts, divisions. I'm sitting there, and the thing is, my yeshiva, Baruch Hashem, they allowed, you know, there was like Rav Kook guys, there was Hasidim. They're different, people with from different, areas, so to speak. And we had this one rabbi who used to be a rav in what is it called? Who used to be a rav in Tzfat, and he was like kind of, I guess you can call him proto Breslov, but not really Breslov. Just kind of more like if the Berdichever had like followers today, he would be one of them.
Okay.
And so he came in every just Wednesday to teach Hasidus, any Hasidus. 1 week it was we were doing Tanya, the next week we were doing Likutei Moharan, just anything, any Hasidus sefer we wanted, which for me was like Gishmak, crazy, I loved it. So then the Rosh Hashiva was interviewing me after 2 weeks, and he's like, so anything that you in particular, so how you doing, whatever. And I go, I really like, you know who he was? He's the brother of one of the guys from Zusha. His teacher, the Hasidus guy, and I really like Rabbi Goldschmidt's class, Hasidus, and then the Rosh Hashiva goes to me, it's not really my thing, but yeah, we're thinking of retaining him full time, for like halacha and stuff like that. So it's good that you recommend, but I'm thinking, I didn't know what to say because I didn't have enough background to, just kind of engage in conversation. So I walked out of the room and I come to my friend and I go, dude, can you explain to me what he meant by when he said Hasidus is not his thing? And my friend, my roommate grew up frum in England, like kind of like modern Orthodox, but he was close with Chabad, Rabbi Sachs, whatever.
Yeah.
And he goes to me, well, you understand it, there's the Litvak thing and the Hasid. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, fine, but Judaism's not his thing. I didn't understand the depth of the, this, I guess you'd say aversion or what is it, schism. I didn't understand it. I couldn't understand why have a schism to this day. Why keep it going? I understand. It was explained to me at that time. Whatever.
You know why? Because Gullus is Gullus is Gullus.
But like. It's just that there's not even a point anymore. It's all the same. It's all the same lamdus. It's all more or less the same ideas. Read Nefesh Chaim and read Tanya. It's basically the same thing.
Dude, why? It's Yankees versus Mets.
Read Mesilas Yeshar. It's the same damn freaking thing. Derek Hashem and the other guy. It's the same thing from a different thing.
It's Yankees versus Mets at this point.
Yo, but why Vrot? You know what I'm saying?
Why brought? Good question.
Not why. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I know.
It's not a question. Yeah.
I know, but it came out as a question.
For crying out loud. Like, I'm just a neophyte here, I guess. Naive person. Whatever. I don't know.
Yo, here, translate. Tvoi Zaychik napisal into English.
Tvoi Zaychik napisal или написал?
Написал. Твой зайчик написал.
Your bunny wrote?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just think about it. For Your bunny wrote. Does that sound like anything?
Oh my God. No, that's kind of like колено расти, пожалуйста.
Колено расти, пожалуйста.
Translate that into English.
Knee grow, please. That's a little different.
Yeah, Denise, what's up? Knee grow, please.
Yeah.
Grow knee, please. Do you want to make it backwards?
Reminds me of Cedric the Entertainer.
What did he say? Oh, straight up.
I was thinking about it since we talked about him yesterday.
Yeah, straight up. Taekwonese.
Funny, man. The guy's funny. When he was doing that thing, remember, what was that routine where he was like, we didn't have fights.
Yeah.
We didn't have all those crazy gang fights. We solved everything with break dance offs. Like break offs or whatever.
Dance off.
And then he did it in press. Yeah. He's like, just break dance fight.
And he's like, man, he's fighting so much. He's just like Anthony Mason. Everybody's like, oh, because he was in North Carolina. He was performing. And Anthony Mason went to the Hornets, and he got into a huge fight. He got suspended. He's like, why are you fighting? Just like Anthony Mason.
Right. That was Cedric the Entertainer?
Yeah.
I remember that line. I don't remember that was him saying that.
That was him. I just love the part where like Bernie Mac comes on, and then every time Bernie Mac says something like kind of like inflammatory, and everybody's like oohing and ahhing, half the crowd is laughing, the other half is like oohing and ahhing, and then he goes, "Oh, North Carolina, come on, North Carolina." Oh, come on, you know what I'm saying is true. Come on, North, you know it's North Carolina.
I like that kind of reminds me of something like Cosby did during his routine, where he was talking about his kid. You know the famous show, right? The one from the 70s with the red background.
Yeah,
right?
it's what is it? What was that show called?
I don't remember the name of the show, but it was a stand-up.
Wait, was it stand-up? I thought you were talking about his he had a
show.
show.
He was wearing a beige suit, and there was kind of like a reddish a reddish background.
I thought you were talking about Fat Albert, not Fat Albert, right?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about his most famous stand-up.
Okay. Yeah. With
it was the late 70s.
When he's like sitting down and then standing up.
He's usually sitting
down. He was sitting also. He had a chair.
Yeah, because he was doing a routine about the dentist.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, then they sit you down and then they put this thing in your mouth. This will suck up your face.
Can I play it here? Bill Cosby dentist.
Yeah.
Here, it's like it's a fairly, Oh my God, this freaking... See, they're making this commercial. You know the betting thing, William Hill? They're showing you like Rome. It's like a Roman setting. It's so crazy. It's like they're preparing us. Here you go.
Dentists tell you not to pick your teeth with any sharp metal object.
What?
Then you sit in their chair. And the first thing they grab is an iron hook. And they start to pick in an area that you came to get fixed.
Oh my God.
I found out something about myself while the dentist was doing that. I found out if I was ever paralyzed from the knee down, I'd be able to walk with my behind.
The hell?
Because the whole time he kept doing that, I just kept...
He's sliding down in the chair.
Yeah. Sit up. Sorry.
Now the dentist pulls out a needle.
Okay.
This is to deaden the pain.
Oh my God.
Slow enough. Now, regular doctor giving you a shot will go, and that's it. Dentists don't do that. They go.
Oh my God. Oh God. Holy schnuckers.
And you're there. They didn't want to talk to you. Do you ever do any fishing? Where do you usually go?
He's like you remember? He reminds me of remember the guy that turns into a cockroach in Men in Black.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's like a 7-minute thing. I'm not gonna.
Vincent D'Onofrio. No, but in that same show,
Yeah.
he was talking about the way he was talking about his children, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, I did this, and then the crowd was going like, ooh. And he looks at the crowd. He goes, "These are not your children."
I just love that Bernie Mac's thing where he's like, he goes to the court and then he's like, the judge is like, "Mr. Mac, we gonna separate the kids." "You mean separate like divide?" "Yeah, very good, Mr. Mac, very good."
Very good, Mr. Mac.
He's like, "My sister on drugs. I ain't ashamed to tell you, some of their family members effed up too." he's like, the 2-year-old, she's the ringleader. She's a shepherd for the devil. She worshiped the devil. The 40-year-old just saying that you look like this, and the 6-year-old, he a homosexual. And he's like, "No, the faggot is gonna tell the 2-year-old. No, the 2-year-old gonna tell the faggot go downstairs and get some milk and cook it." And he's like, "What you doing down here?" He's like, "What you get your sweet ass upstairs?" Like, I'm going downtown to get some milk and cookie. You can get it to me.
He goes, it sounded so funny. I asked him to say it again. I said, well, what are you doing here?
You want that milk and
Cookies.
milk and cookie. He's like, come on, North Carolina, ain't no 6-year-old walk like this here. He walks like a fruit. It's just like, he's like, the word MF is a noun. It describes a person, place, or thing. You see that MF and Bobby? If you don't have my MF and money, I'll bust this MF and head.
Right.
It's like, my God. What a genius.
It's crazy that he was taken down by the damn flu. Pneumonia.
It was pneumonia, yeah? So crazy. I don't know, man. I feel like there's just like this barrage on comedians. I mean, they're like looking for things to get them on. Either comedians pass away, or like they're like, you know, there's like Louis C.K. does, you know, or like Bill Cosby. Look at this guy is like so supremely, I mean, he is supremely talented. He did so much for like his own people, and this is how they treat him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he did do stuff, but the question is is it to the extent that
the question is, what did he do?
Yeah. That's a question.
What is the worst thing? Are you familiar enough with the case? What was the most heinous thing he was accused of?
Most heinous thing he was accused of? I'll tell you right now. Yeah, Sindra Ladd alleged that Cosby drugged and sexually assaulted her in 1969. Same thing with, yeah. Basically, he put, in the words of...
So basically, she took drugs.
Eddie Murphy, no, Eddie Murphy would do the thing where it's like, he put the pear into people's chocolate. Yeah, it's like, well, he roofied them. He roofied them in their house, in his house. And,
so they were totally unaware and totally did not do drugs.
Supposedly, like, here, there's a bunch of this stuff, here. One of the most outspoken accusers, Barbara Bowman. Cosby mentored her until she turned 18, then offered her a drug-laced glass of wine, raped her in his New York home, later alleged attempt to assault her in Atlantic City, and attempted to destroy her career when she fought back. Beverly Johnson offered her a spiked espresso and was able to resist his actions and leave his house. She related this episode to Vanity Fair, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Louisa Moritz. Cosby forced oral sex backstage at Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. Christina Ruelli. Cosby invited her to a party at his house where she was the only guest. Party, quote unquote, then he allegedly drugged her and raped her. Teresa Serignis. Cosby randomly approached her at Las Vegas Hilton where he was performing and asked her if she wanted to go to his show. Serignis attended his comedy show. And afterwards he gave her Quaaludes before rape. Quaaludes was like all the rage in the 70s. Cosby admitted under oath, I gave her Quaaludes, we then had sex. He also, remember that? Everybody did had sex on Quaaludes back then.
That's what I'm saying.
That's like Veronica Corningstone and freaking, what's his face? Ron Burgundy, that kind of deal. You know?
I highly doubt. It feels far-fetched that the women were not aware.
Yeah.
Or that the women were, given drugs without being aware.
Here, check this out. Tamara Green. I was feeling ill one day at Cosby's restaurant, Cafe Figaro in Los Angeles. Cosby allegedly offered her decongestant, quote-unquote, then drove her to his house, where he attempted to rape her. Green alleged she was conscious enough to fight back, was the only witness in Constance's case to be publicly named at the time. She's the lead plaintiff. Beth Ferrier. She had been in a consensual relationship with Cosby for several months, but sometime after breaking up, claims he drugged her when she visited him before a performance in Denver. She claimed she woke up in a car in a parking lot with her clothes disheveled after Cosby offered her a cup of coffee the night before. Joan Tarshis, L.A. Cosby mixed a drink while they were working together, awoke by Cosby raping her. Originally told a reporter in the 80s who declined to publish it. Victoria Valentino. Cosby offered her pills before driving her to his home. Conscious but too drugged to move, she alleged Cosby turned her over and raped her. Valentino's friend confirmed she detailed the incident to her immediately. Mentioned the videotape interview in 1996. Janice Dickinson, that's like the famous model. Yeah. He had been following her career and inviting her to. This is before she became Hawaiian with chopping her nose. She was like a smokestack. Inviting her to his hotel immediately after she did drug rehab. Yeah, she messed up her face with drugs. Alleged Cosby gave her wine and a pill and awoke him raping her. Provided her story for O2. This is like the most famous case. Carla Farino claims that while on a date with a man claiming to work in the record industry, she was taken to a party at Cosby House, which her date and Cosby's wife left, leaving the two alone. Alleges Cosby was then forcibly grabbed and kissed her, repeatedly attempted to give her a drink before she insisted on leaving. There's a bunch of these women. It just goes on and on. It's like essentially the same kind of rubric where he just gives, roofies and then tries to do stuff.
And how is this allegedly proven?
It's proven. Here's the thing. A lot of these women. This happened a long time ago. Obviously, he's very, very famous. He always was very famous. It's very. You can understand the idea of like that. It's scary for them to come forward, and who's going to believe them, and this and that and the other.
No, but why? Okay, so what stopped being so scary? Why did they? Why
it's not a question of what stopped. It's a question of when these accusations were made in the era of what's called Me Too. This is the beginning of the Me Too era, 2015, 2014. Once people started being outraged by somebody like a Trump already so much as talking about grabbing parts, then you have that already environment to where that's it. And this is the same time where that whole Larry Nassar thing, with the gymnastics coach.
Yeah.
They basically it was like, I mean, listen, the guy deserved it, but he was basically legally lynched in a courtroom by his these gymnast girls, not just them, but like.
Well, were their children. The gymnasts were children.
Yeah, they were children at the time. Well, they were 16. They weren't like little tiny children, but they were underage.
That's a person who is 15 is a child.
Yeah, they're children. What I'm saying is like the already an environment where it's basically like, if you look at that case, the judges were all women. Every trial and every courtroom, the judges were all women. Everybody was women. The whole thing was like women.
Yeah.
Going after
Another question with Cosby.
Yeah.
How many of those women did this happen to? How many times did it happen to them with Cosby?
How many times per woman, or how many women did he
allegedly? No, per woman.
I have no idea, but I'm reading. There's about 4, 5, 6. I mean, they said it was like supposedly the full count was about 60 women.
No. What I'm saying is a lot of those women.
A lot of those women. There was a one-time thing and they escaped. Some of them like escaped. Fought back.
But a lot of them say they came back. One lady said she came back like 15 times.
Yeah, that's kind of whack. That's kind of weird. It's very strange.
And that was supposed to be the worst. And that was supposed to be the worst of his offenses.
Well, here's the thing, man. We are on vaccine number 4 now, so there's your answer. You come and you tell people, hey, man, it's like I know somebody whose sister, after the second shot, had to pull over the side of the road with heart palpitations, but then she's gonna go get the third one because she has to live life and her kids have to be in school and she has to do this and she has to do that and who cares and blah blah blah. You understand? People will just continue doing things against their best interest because of blah.
So it's on them.
It is on them. It is on them. For sure it's on them.
Here's my point.
At some point, but the people giving them the crap, the pill, or in this case, is also culpable.
If Bill Cosby really completely misled these women and they innocently were taking drinks, never thought that there would be any drugs associated with their time spent with Bill Cosby or anything like that, then that's evil, that's evil.
Yeah.
But I don't feel that could not have been that simple.
Of course it's not that simple. I think he did do something. I think he did something with far less than what is.
I think that he provided them with drugs. He offered it to them, and they took it. That's what I think.
But even so, If somebody is
No.
not consensual, then that's a problem.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No, that's what I'm saying. I
It's
don't
the
believe that it
non-consensualist
wasn't-
aspect. It's not the. I mean, the drugs is
That's
drugs.
that's the part that
Yeah.
I don't believe. You know what I'm saying? I believe there were drugs involved, and I believe that there was sex involved.
I think that there was, instead of 60, I think there was maybe 2 or 3. That's what I think. I think that because a lot of these women could have just wanted money, whatever it is. The guy's got enough to go around. He's got enough fat cash.
I think that these women saw their opportunity. They
Yeah.
had to go ahead from the political party.
Yeah.
Okay,
Listen,
the political party, the Democrats,
Yeah.
they behave just like the communists. They collect, a case against anybody in a position of power,
Yeah.
and then use it against them when and if it comes necessary to do
In
so.
his case, he was just on the cusp of really starting this whole messaging campaign to young black men. You know what I'm saying? Here.
And that's another thing. A guy who spends a lot of time, he's a rich dude. Like he could just be in Barbados the whole time,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah, no, he spends a lot of time trying to.
He donates. He donated millions of dollars.
And they took away all those. Yeah, they kept the money, but they took away all those honorariums, those universities.
Right.
It's interesting.
He went around. He went around for years, speaking to children. Right.
Yeah.
So that doesn't sound like a guy who was gonna roofie someone.
Yeah.
That sounds like someone who in the 70s said, "Come on, baby, let's take a little relaxer. Let's get into the mood." And the girl saying, "Okay." That's what it sounds like to me. I could be wrong.
See, listen to this. In 2005, Georgetown University sociology professor Michael Eric Dyson wrote a book. Is Bill Cosby right, or has the black middle class lost its mind? In the book, Dyson wrote that Cosby was overlooking large social factors that reinforce poverty and associated crime. Factors such as deterioration. So somebody wrote it. Okay. Okay. Because Cosby said, what did he say? Okay, he celebrated the 50th anniversary commemoration of Brown Board of Education. In 2004, he made public remarks critical of African Americans who put higher priorities on sports, fashion, and acting hard, quote unquote, than on education, self-respect, and self-improvement. He pleaded for African American families to educate their children on the many different aspects of American culture. In the Pound Cake speech, that's the famous speech that he made, Cosby asked that African American parents teach their children better morals at a younger age. As reported in the Washington Times, Cosby told reporters during a special session of the Congressional Black Caucus 34th Annual Legislative Conference that parenting needs to come to the forefront. If you need help, you don't know how to parent, and you don't know how to parent, we want to be able to reach out and touch you. Richard Labey of the Washington Post reported Bill Cosby was anything but politically correct in his remarks Monday at a Constitution Hall bash commemorating 50th anniversary of Brown Board of Education. Cosby was again criticized and was largely unapologetic for his stance when he made similar remarks during his speech. Don't they know that, do they remember his show where they had a guy teaching his son that he needs to go to college? The son went to NYU, and the guy and the man played a freaking a delivered baby, a doctor, and the wife is a lawyer, and the daughter went to is she gonna go to Hillman or Howard? And the other daughter went here, and then she got married. Didn't they watch the show and then they get the idea that he's trying to send a little bit of a kind of blatant message that this is what black people need to do, and now they're upset and surprised at what he said? The most famous show in America for 8 years, or how many years?
Yeah.
That everybody effing watched, and everybody understood the message, and everybody loved the message, and everybody this, and everybody that. And now they're upset at him saying that black people need to stop, put the freaking pants up. They forgot.
Yeah, on purpose.
Yeah.
Okay? They can't have...
I don't understand.
They can't have any positive male figures at all. It doesn't even matter if you're black. If you're a black guy, you might as well be white at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, why you acting white? Why you acting white? You know what I'm saying? Why you acting white? Why you gotta be acting white?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, black guys, they thought that they were a sacred cow. right, recently, until they themselves also had the same fate as the white man. Right? Now they're just as evil as the white man in the woke mentality, right? So, they will not escape the direction that this is going. Okay? So Bill Cosby was a big part of that. So do I believe that Bill Cosby roofied women and raped them? No, I don't believe that for a second.
Can I finish reading you this one part about this guy Cornel West? He's like a big black supremacist guy.
I know.
So he says Cornel West defended Cosby and his remarks, saying he's speaking out of great compassion and trying to get folk on the right track, because we got some brothers and sisters who are not doing the right things. Just like in times in our own lives, we don't do the right thing. He's trying to speak honestly and freely and lovingly, and I think that's a very positive thing. In a 2008 interview, Cosby mentioned Philadelphia, Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit, Oakland, California, Springfield, Massachusetts, among the cities where crime was high and young African-American men were being murdered and jailed in disproportionate numbers. Cosby stood his ground against criticism and affirmed that African-American parents were continuing to fail to inculcate proper standards of moral behavior. Cosby's social commentary led to the unsealing of documents in a previous civil suit by a woman who accused Cosby of sexual assault, which in turn sparked renewed interest in older allegations. So they're basically writing here that, like, he put a spotlight on himself. Judge ruled that releasing the sealed documents was justified by the stark contrast between Bill Cosby, the public moralist, and Bill Cosby, the subject of serious allegations concerning improper... Oh, so it's like they were trying to prove a point. Cosby,
exactly.
BS, has also been critical of conservative Republican politicians. Now he gets on to whatever. I mean, I just don't understand, like... Even if you take away this whole rape thing, again, the guy had a show. You knew exactly what the show was about.
Yeah, he wanted... Right, he was about to bring back another show.
There was 8 years, and then he had A Different World, where all these people are now in college, and they're activists, and they're this, and they're that, and they have, like, another 6 years, and where, his daughter, like... whatever, Lisa Bonet, or
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about here, man? Like, this guy did work for 11 years showing an image of black people that was supposed, like, this was what he was striving for.
Yeah, you got to forget everything that he did. You got to be able to, like, wipe an entire decade. Actually, probably like 4 decades.
Yeah. Yeah, it was more because he had that stuff. He had that material in his stand-up also.
Yeah.
About colleges and this.
You got to wipe that all out in order to get people to believe that he's a rapist.
God.
So, I could see him in the 70s, having sex with women, with groupies. I could see that. No one can resist that. No one.
Yeah.
But raping them. Why? Why would he?
It was unnecessary.
Why would that even be necessary?
It was unnecessary.
I don't even.
So now, here's my question. You're talking about, like, the Democratic machine started working their magic, whatever, but eventually he was let out on a technicality. So it's like, what, they just did it as like a, made an example out of him, and then they're like, okay, so they like rachamim on him or what?
Hang on 1 second. Hang on. Sorry, my wife had a question about the washing machine.
It's all good.
What was your question?
No, my question is like, well, okay, so this machine let him out, due to a technicality. There was, like, was it not double jeopardy, but, like, you couldn't. There was some mispropriety in the prosecutors, the way that they were doing, the procedure, or some kind of procedural thing. He got off on a technicality, basically.
Right. So what's the message?
No, the message. So, like, what, they just kind of like that essentially amounts to a slap on the wrist, and then he's out. He's gone. See, it says.
I don't know the exact reason for it, like every little thing, but they did. The primary thing was to destroy his reputation and his ability to influence anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. See, it was revealed that one of 13 prosecution witnesses. Cosby's lawyer here. 2 months after Cosby was released from Pennsylvania prison, the case was revived, and his lawyer said he would continue to plead the Fifth. The Los Angeles Superior... so now it's a civil trial. It had decided that a civil trial can go forward with a tentative date of April 18, 2022. So next, few months, there's going to be a civil. They're going to do the same thing that what happened to OJ. They're going to have to pay money.
Except that OJ didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Little minor, little nuance there.
See, they're seeking Lily Bernard filed a lawsuit October 14, 2021 under the state of New Jersey 2-year look-back period, which allows victims of sexual assault to sue regardless of when the offense took place. In her lawsuit, she claims that Cosby had sexually assaulted her on multiple occasions. She claims that in August 1990, Cosby lured her to Taj Mahal Resort in Atlantic City with a promise to help advance her career. Oh, so it's one of those situations.
Lured her.
Yeah, lured her. Dude, it's like the oldest story. She wants to advance her career, but instead drugged and raped her. She said that after she woke up the next morning, Cosby threatened her and said that if she were to go to police, that he would sue her for defamation and would destroy her career. She is seeking $225 million in damages, which includes $25 million per sexual assault and another $125 million for punitive. Cosby, though through spokeswoman Andrew Wyatt, has denied her accusations, has said he would fight the 2-year look-back window, claiming it to be unconstitutional. What is his net worth? I mean, he must be like... Yeah.
He probably has $1 billion.
He most... Yeah, here. $400 million as of... So that's allegedly. It's like $500 million. So she's trying to give him like half his money, or a quarter of his money.
Well, it works for Tiger Woods' wife. Why not?
Yeah. Gosh. My God, man.
This is really just, a stupid... Cosby is just a stupid dude, okay?
Yeah.
And Tiger is just a stupid dude. Like, why would you get married and then do that kind of stuff? Like, don't be married if that's what.
Yeah, but that's Asaf,
like.
man. But that's Asaf. We go back to Asaf on that one. What do you want? Why does Asaf have a 60% divorce rate? Everybody's shocked.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even Yaakov is getting that residue now. Look at the From World also.
What's going on? You mean like
divorce rates are going up? I mean, they're not even anywhere near everybody else, but they're going up. Here, divorce rate, Orthodox, Jewish world. I think they made a number on this. About 10% of U.S. Jews identify as Orthodox, and the divorce rate is only 10%. It used to be lower than that.
Yeah.
I think it's higher than that now. I think it might be like 15 or 20. It might be higher. Here, with Jewish divorce... Oh, there you go. 2015. Jewish divorce rates at 30%. Oh, okay. Is this all Jews? Or... Here.
Very difficult to do any kind of polling.
About 30%
of the Jewish world.
It is difficult, yeah. 30% of Jewish marriages end in divorce. Just like the same thing with that stupid political polling. And as the largest social service organization serving as OHEL organization, uniquely positioned to offer advice. So this is like, yeah, but again, are they talking about? All Jews, Orthodox, whatever. I don't know. Rivki Sonnenfeld, married at 22, had a baby at 23, divorced at... There's some article. Blah, blah, blah. Listen, I don't know. I'm looking around and I see... Maybe it's because I'm in the shidduch world and I'm like 41. Or I was in the shidduch world, not anymore. But like still in the singles kind of scene, and you see, these women who are like closer to our age and divorced with kids, and that's the ones that I'm getting like thrown my way, so to speak. You know what I mean? So maybe I see more of them than guys in their 20s would. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though in the From world, you probably see girls like that in their 20s. So who the hell knows? It's hard to say.
Could be.
Hard to say. But yeah, man, we're getting that stuff from just like we're getting feminism seeping in to the Jewish world. It's seeping into the Jewish world, and it's seeping into the Shadchan, Shidduch world also, by the way. Unfortunately, which I kind of
the system is kind of like rotting.
Yeah.
But that just means that like a seed rots. That's when like the growth, the actual plant starts to grow.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, whatever has been going on, obviously has a shelf life. A limited amount. It has an expiration date. The way that gullus world, right, where we can't do the mitzvot. Like, think about it. The frum world, right, as it needed to operate the way it was operating for this whole time in gullus, right? But the frum world has a maximum of 87 mitzvot that it can observe. You can't do the rest of the commandments. So this infrastructure cannot contain the true life of mitzvahs. Right? Like we need Mashiach to come and reestablish real Jewish life that nobody's really seen for a long time now.
By the way, speaking of slander,
and then, dude, I'm sorry, but you mentioned like, was it Tu B'Shvat? Right?
Yeah.
That's, you go find, the lasses will line up in their beautiful angelic white gauze.
No, that's Tu B'Av. No, that's Tu B'Av. That's Tu B'Av.
I'm sorry, Tu B'Av. Yeah. And then you'll meet your bride in the original way.
Yeah, for sure. Well, here's a little light spark of something good. Brazil's CNN, El Globo, is being sued for slander. In a recent interview, El Globo misrepresented and lied about Dr. Zelenko's successful and clinical proven treatment of COVID-19. In addition, Arthur and Abraham Weintraub were slandered for supporting Dr. Zelenko's protocol that has reduced hospitalization and death by 84%. I have to look this up on...
Do you know who they are?
El Globo?
No, the Arthur and...
I have no idea. Who are these guys?
Just look it up.
Okay.
I can't say anything.
Okay. Here. How do we know El Globo's being sued? I don't know. Where is this news? Anyway, okay. Arthur, let's look up. You can't say anything because...
I just can't say anything,
Okay. Arthur Weintraub. Whoa. Secretary for something. Is that it? Secretary for multi-dimensional security. Is to promote and coordinate. Is this part of like? Is this part of the American government, or just some organization? The mission for cooperation among member states within Inter-America system, other bodies, international, prevent, confront, respond to threats to security with a view to being leading point of reference in the hemisphere for developing cooperation and capacity building. OAS member states. Sphere of activities defined in Okay, Inter-American Drug Abuse Control Commission, Secretary of Inter-American Terrorism, Public Security. This is the guy. This is the thing.
Can't say anything.
Yes or but it's yes. It's either a yes or a no. Okay,
Moving on.
Hold on, Abraham. Hold on. Weintraub. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Brazil economist and investment banker who served as Brazil's Minister of Education, currently serves as executive director for the World Bank. And he supported.
That's interesting, isn't it?
He supported your brother. Weintraub was born.
A supporter of my brother.
Born in Sao Paulo to a Jewish father and a non-Jewish mother, Marilisa Braganca de Vasconcelos. Both doctors who studied at the Faculty of Medicine of Sorocaba. Professor of Federal University of Sao Paulo, Minister Administrative something, Economic Sciences of University of Sao Paulo. Chief of Staff of Onyx Lorenzoni. Oh, this is like a politician. Okay. Member of Bolsonaro's transition cabinet in November 2018.
Yep.
On the night following, before his Weintraub tells the United States to travel. Weintraub took advantage of diplomatic passport conceded to ministers due to the fact that U.S. travel restrictions related to COVID-19 barred civilians in Brazil starting on May 29th. This was caused some controversy. Blah blah blah. Something. Yeah. In July 2020, Weintraub was elected as executive director of World Bank for a term ending October 31st, 2020. So he was there for like a couple months. Officials from the bank have criticized Weintraub for propagating false information regarding COVID-19 pandemic. And now you get into racist remarks. Oh, shut off.
Bullshit.
Accusations, Macron, devoid of character, filming in class, blah, blah, blah. Teachers. Weintraub stated that the filming of teachers by students during class is a right held by the latter, calling it individual liberty. In response to his statement, jurors argued that the unauthorized filming of teachers in class may violate the fundamental rights of educators and is unconstitutional. Crack conspiracy theory claimed that crack was introduced to Brazil by communists in order to weaken the country. He also said that FARC had been invited as honored guests by Foro de Sao Paulo, annual gathering of Latin American leftist parties. It's actually true. These comments led The Guardian to brand Weintraub as a conspiracy theorist.
It's all true.
Oh my god. What a bunch of losers.
Leftism is really it's the tumor of humanity.
Yeah.
You know, I just want it to die.
Yeah.
The idea, you know, the mindset.
Yeah.
It represents the worst of all human character.
Yeah.
It's really the wheat from the chaff. It's the chaff.
He has a his page, Abraham Weintraub. He has like a thing that it's like a picture of him with like a closed mouth, and he posts all the stuff about you know, the against the lockdown, not like all the fascism and stuff. You know what? I want to see his. Well,
Bolsonaro is supporter of my brother.
No, yeah, I know that. Yeah. So here, Abraham Weintraub. Here we go. Here's his Twitter account. Okay, in Portuguese. 3 hours ago, they took away the freedom to communicate and get informed. Then they restricted their ability to move and work. They ended up with legal security. Thief is released and innocent is arrested. Next step: create 2 types of Brazilians. Am I exaggerating? Unfortunately, I got it right. Next post. A picture of somebody getting their papieren checked. You know, like a Jew. Getting by.
Yeah.
Can the Brazilian citizen enter the national territory? No. So it's not a citizen anymore. What will be the limit? Death penalty for those who don't have the papers. They don't want to protect your health. They want to take away your freedom. Next post. Okay, this is something about a politician. Here you go. Weintraub is like emergency exit. We were never the darlings. Only when the snake smokes, it is for us. Everything is fine if you're optimistic, confident about the future. Wait for the elevator. Oh, it's like some sort of allegory. Hold on.
I'm looking at a headline right now, just a little bit off topic.
Mm-hmm.
In the Biden administration's absence, Texas is stepping up to get the job done. Construction of the Texas-Mexico border wall to begin soon. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
Dude, they rejected his Build Back Better. No, it was voted down, supposedly, allegedly, or postponed. I don't know. The Manchin guy, the Democrat, told them to take a hike. No, the moderate Democrat guy.
Moderate Democrat.
Kitzer, this Weintraub guy. Interesting. He has 1 million followers, over 1 million followers on Twitter. My Twitter, my rules. Everything here is personal, my entire responsibility. Blah, blah, blah. Interesting. Feliz Natal. Oh, so he celebrates Christmas because his mother is not. What's it called? Feliz Natal. Natal. Happy Natal. Rождество, you know, like birth.
Yeah, I understand.
That's funny. Oh, here you go. CDC advisors to weigh limits on J&J smacks amid new data on rare blood clot issue. Rare. They already had the data before. There was issues with this J&J for a while. New data appears to show the rate of blood clot issues has increased, although the problem remains rare. Can they like just? Gosh.
I don't know. I'm so jaded to it. It's clear and present evil.
Yeah. Be aware of this new rule in Twitter's updated COVID-19 misleading information policies. False and misleading claim that people who have received vaccine can spread or shed the virus to unvaccinated people. How is it false? They're telling us they can. That's why you have to get boosters. Because you can. Supposedly, allegedly. get boosters for that. But dude, I don't know. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
You are taking crazy
There's
pills,
like
man.
there's like
You're
it's not
dragging
even,
us to the dark side. Okay,
it's not. I'm not drinking any freaking
Merlot.
Merlot.
We got to drink some Merlot. Let's go back to the Merlot. How do we get? How do we get out of this?
Then it's not even double speak. It's like quadruple speak. Quintuple speak. My God.
It's literally yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no.
Yeah, and like you tell this to people, and it's almost like the stuff that they inject into themselves wipe their brain out, or the ability to discern. It's almost as if there is a microchip and they're being controlled. I don't know. What other explanation, like... Very strange.
I don't know, man. I don't know the process. I don't know the mechanics of what they're doing. I just defer to it being a spiritual phenomenon because it had happened before. We've spoken about this. In the Tower of Babel, that whole generation, entire world, all the people, they were all mentally manipulated. There are spiritual creatures that exist that when a person behaves a certain way, they make themselves vulnerable to these creatures automatically.
The Mazikim.
And that's what was released upon them, upon the Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
But in a controlled, it was like a controlled demolition of that society. The Mazikin were released on them, but released in a very controlled way. And by the way, I heard something amazing. The most mysterious character in the Torah, Shem, ben Noach.
Yeah.
Right?
Or as I like to call him the LeBron James of his time.
No, that would be an insult to Shem on so many levels.
Oh, not Shem. I'm sorry. Ham, not Shem. I'm sorry. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Right.
Ham.
There would be an insult to Ham.
That too. Yeah.
Ham wasn't a regular dude. We don't understand what we're talking about here.
I know he wasn't. I know. None of these people were.
Dude, Cain, right? Mm-hmm. Cain, Hevel didn't speak. There's a dialogue like who spoke to God as easily as Cain did? What does that mean? What does that say about Cain? What level was he on? Right? Anyway, so I mean, it's whatever. So Shem was the leader. He's like the half human, half angel behind the scenes of he's everywhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's worth investigating this character Shem.
Yeah.
He's just he's Malki Tzedek. He's just all over the place. He's timeless. Mm-hmm. He never died, or he went into a meditative trance, and he became Mount Sinai.
Shem is like the George. Shem is like the George Harrison of the Torah.
Do you hear what I said?
Yeah.
Shem.
Yes.
Was Mount Sinai.
Yeah.
Shlomo Melech got on his flying carpet. I'm obviously speaking. I'm discussing mid-Russian to address these. Yeah. Shlomo, he was flying on his flying carpet, and he was flying over the Sinai, and he saw a mountain in the shape of a man. Mm-hmm. And he went to investigate and discovered that it was Shem. Mm-hmm. And he woke Shem up. Shem was in a meditative trance or something like that for, I guess, maybe 1,000 years or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then he asked Shlomo, he goes, what happened on 2448? And there's a big commotion here. He goes, the Torah was given. He's like, oh, that's what it was?
Well, there was a woman by the name of Emily Dickinson. You probably know who she is.
The writer?
She had she came up with a strategy, unbeknownst to her, how to get people to wake up. Here's a very short poem. Tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Success in circuit lies, meaning dance around, you know? Too bright for our infirm delight, the truth's superb surprise. As lightning to the children eased, with explanation kind, the truth must dazzle gradually, or every man be blind. Meaning, you come to a person who has no clue about, they're blank from their elbow, about, you know, the SPARS simulation done by the Johns Hopkins. They have no clue about the Harvard Pilgrim study. They have no clue about any of these things. They have no clue about anything, about Bill Gates as the biggest eugenicist in the world, biggest Malthusian in the world. They have no clue about any of these things. So what do you have to do? You have to go like in increments. The problem is that the time is not on your side. You know? Like if you're like me, you just blurt things out. You flood people with documents and information that people are not, and then like videos of doctors and this and that. You know, like VAERS study, VAERS doctor talking about the VAERS. You know, the problems with the VAERS. It's too much. The light is too bright. You know, the truth must dazzle gradually, or every man be blind. How do we go about this?
I don't know, man. That's what we're trying to figure out. That's what these discussions are about, you know? But we're being censored and literally deplatformed, right? They freaking closed down your entire
they closed
channel.
down. They closed down it was a video from 5 years ago that was made by an organization called Im Tirtzu that I posted. That actually Im Tirtzu themselves either removed or had removed. It was very like, whatever. The video had something like at the end that was like not so savory. But like the point is, it was a very powerful video. It was still up on my channel. And they're just like, this is your third strike. And it was for that video from 5 years ago. 5 years ago. And like one of my strikes was supposed to elapse. It was supposed to be removed. You know, the second strike or whatever was supposed to be removed, or the first strike, in 2 days. So I guess they figured, okay, so like what can we, you know? Let's find a nail for this coffin.
That's exactly what they did. You know?
Son of a bitch.
So everybody has to make the transition to... You have to get away. I saw something very upsetting. YouTube, there's like a sign saying that YouTube has 1 trillion views or something like that.
Yep. They're making money off of they're making money off of people who can't even, you know, like people like me who are not even eligible for monetization.
You know?
But there's still ads. There's still ads on the side bar of my video, not in my video, but on the sidebar that they're just making money off of, from hits.
YouTube is one of the biggest scams in the world. People should seriously transition away or just break away entirely and start using, you know, clumsier platforms. But at least you can watch YouTube die. Yeah,
dude. Today I was able to watch Dr. McCullough on Joe Rogan. That they took the Spotify video. Like, kind of, you know, there's a video, when you play Spotify, there's an audio and a video choice. Somebody jacked the video and they put it on Rumble. A few people did this. If you do this on YouTube, I mean, just doing it, forget about who's the guest, it'll be taken down. I mean, there's like clips you can put, but Rumble, they put the whole show on Rumble. It's, you know, it's freedom. It's that's basically the idea here.
Got to get away from the tubes of you. No more YouTube.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I was considering even telling you not to, like, post on this channel to not encourage people to go to YouTube anymore.
I know.
It's a hard decision because it's like...
Well, somebody told me, a friend of mine told me do both and just, you know, just to leverage, have some, you know, kind of, you know, whoever... Sometimes it's you know, YouTube is the easier choice because of there's the UX and UI. We spoke about this, like the user interface. You know, when you post a link, you get the thumbnail. Like thumbnails are very important. When you post something, people see a picture they're attracted to and they want to click on it. If I post a Rumble link on Facebook, all you get is the link and maybe just like the text. You don't get a thumbnail. By the way, on Telegram you get the thumbnail.
You do get a thumbnail.
You
but
get a,
you
you
don't
get a photo.
Where don't you get a thumbnail?
On Facebook. If I post a Rumble link, a link to a Rumble video on Facebook, it just gives you like this like rectangular shape with just the title of the video. And
Nice.
there's nothing enticing, you know. So these kind of things, you know. This kind of stuff.
Unbelievable. Rumble, folks, Rumble. So when are you gonna upload the entire saga?
That I'm gonna have to do. Then I'm gonna have to do on like a random Sunday and just create a you know, a playlist of that.
So like, can you how many videos can you upload in the same day?
I'm not sure, but maybe unlimited. The thing is, I have to go because some of them are very big in size, and the maximum size per video you're allowed on Rumble is the size of the file is something along the lines of 15 gigs. So some of them are a little more than. I mean, I could cut them down. It's not a big deal.
Or just break them up into part 1, part 2.
Yeah, I could do that, and I can revamp the whole thing with the you know, those your chosen 80s you know, screenshots. You know, it's an opportunity to revamp
To refresh.
to refresh the whole aesthetic. So it'll be good. It's gonna be good. Also, I'm eligible for monetization, so Baruch Hashem.
Oh yeah, right. There's that added benefit.
Mm-hmm. So,
Dude, crypto. What's how, you know, what do you think it's gonna?
well, Baruch Hashem, now they did this whole thing with the markets went up because of they figured out this whole debt. Well, not that it's good, but the debt ceiling thing to raise it, which means they're printing more money, which means that crypto is supposedly should be going up because it's a hedge against inflation. However, if the Fed decides to raise rates, which is also a hedge against inflation, so, you know, then if they raise rates, then that means the stock market will tank, and the crypto actually also follows the stock market. So it's this whole, like, you know, kind of push and pull game, and you have to figure out how to navigate that. It's interesting. I think in the long run, obviously, crypto is going to be a thing.
Rule number one on how to navigate the economy: be in charge of it.
Yes. Rule number one: join Skull and Bones. Rule number two: keep your friends that you met at Skull and Bones. Rule number three: attend Bilderberg. Rule number four: attend Bohemian Grove.
Rule number 5: become the Speaker of the House.
This is your house. Get stock tips
You know, that reminds
from
me. You know
your
where
friends.
I got that from? You know, I'm ripping off again. Of course, I'm ripping off Norm Macdonald. He was
That's funny.
he was on Conan, and Conan had a model as a guest, and whenever he has people like guests like that, that, you know, like maybe like sports figures, or let's say people who are just famous for their looks. So he brings Norm Macdonald on because he knows that they're going to be very boring interviews.
Yeah,
He needs
that's
Norm
very funny.
to come and save the interview,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I don't remember who the model was. She's a beautiful black model, and she wrote a book. She was
Iman?
modeling how to
Iman?
become a supermodel for dummies or something like that, right?
Is it Iman?
And then it's not Iman.
Okay.
No. Iman. This was an American
Oh,
model.
okay, fine.
So she's like, yeah. So I wrote this book on how to, modeling industry for dummies. And then Norm's like, rule number 1, don't be a midget.
Oh, look, modeling mindset. Beginner's some black chick. What's her name?
I don't remember. This is like in the 90s.
Sasha? I don't know.
She was one of the she was one of the supermodels.
Oh, you're talking about what's her freaking face?
Not Naomi Campbell. No.
No, Banks. Tyra
Not
Banks?
Tyra Banks. No. This is somebody else.
Okay. In the 90s?
Yeah, this is in the 90s.
I don't know.
I think.
If it's not Naomi Banks, not Naomi Campbell or Tyra Banks, I don't know who it could be.
This was before Tyra Banks. I'm pretty sure.
You talking about what's her face? The one from Merde. What's her name? Stranger. No.
Not Stranger.
Grace
Not
Jones.
Grace
Oh,
Jones.
fine.
No, just she
Whatever.
she wasn't in any movies. I don't
Oh,
think.
okay.
She was just
Whatever, doesn't matter.
yeah. She came out there. She's like, "Can I just have one question? What is men's obsession with prostitutes?" I think he's like, "Let me think here."
Huh.
Strange.
That's really funny.
Rule number 1: don't be a midget.
Ask Eddie Murphy what's men's obsession with prostitutes. He'll tell you.
Why we gotta crap on him?
Oh, I'm
Eddie
not
Murphy's like,
crying.
"Hey, man, people almost forgot about that. Let me go drive you back into that."
Anyway,
Man, if I see Greg, I'm gonna punch him in the face.
I see that guy, that white boy. I'm gonna punch him in the face. I know he follow everything I do, everything my brother does. But you know, including the fart game. We played the fart game, and
Yeah, we had to make our own bubbles.
he's like, I had a piece of poop.
You know,
in
he
my...
did that. He actually used that in Trading Places.
Oh, yes. He's like, I had a piece of poop in my hand and a G.I. Joe up my butt.
He's like, well, you never clean up the poop, Eddie. It become hard already. It's a coffee table now. Put my drink on
I
it,
put
Eddie.
up a drink, but he's like, my friends come over, watch boxing. I put my drink on top of it, Eddie. He's like, that's not a coaster, it's a piece of shit. Come here, Coco, come here. Doesn't know his name. See,
You know that, right?
you don't clean after it. You don't pay. You don't take care of it, Eddie. He's like, I know you're 7. You be a 7-year-old, no house MF. So like the best
Yeah.
line.
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking today. I was like, I'm worried that, like, I literally hope that Rabbi Wolf never listens to any of our.
Oh my goodness.
podcast.
Oh my God. No, he just wouldn't
That
get
just occurred
through.
to me.
He just wouldn't
You know,
get
like it-
through
like it-
2.5 hours.
No, I'm just really hoping that he never listens. That Rabbi Kessin never listens.
Rabbi
to our
Kessin doesn't have
podcast, and that
internet, so
Rabbi,
he never will.
Rabbi Weisberg never. Anybody that we want to have on that could actually provide some serious content, right? But I hope that they didn't hear our show.
No, they'd probably be like,
because-
you know what would happen? They'd be like, oh, in order to go on your show, we need to just see like what you guys are. I'd be like, well, Rabbi, like, I mean, this is like
No.
a 2.5 hour
don't do
program, so I don't know if you even have the time to go through our thing and whatever.
Right,
It's
we have to
actually
explain-
it's actually
we have to
good that
explain the premise of this.
actually we have an excuse. Our thing got erased. Oh, as fate would have it, Rabbi.
Let's use that to our advantage.
As fate would have it, Rabbi, our whole thing got jacked. So there's hardly any body of work we can show you. Sorry.
No, I have to write a good explanation. I was like, Rabbi, you see, we had this idea where, we want people to know the truth. We want it to sound like what people sound like when they are to themselves, when they're at home, when they're hanging out with their friends, in the dorm room, when the pressure is off, and what are people really like?
Yeah.
And it's a conversation. It's a real conversation by real people dealing with real situations. It's not sterilized, and it's not, doesn't have that kind of quality.
It also serves as like a form of therapy that you don't have to pay $150 for per hour.
Yeah. Okay.
What was the title?
The more I think about it, the more worried I am that they're not going to want to do it.
Oh my God! Hold on a second. What was the phrase that you said at the end of the last episode? Remember, you're like, remember this phrase, and then you're like,
engage the phenomenon.
So this is it. This is it.
Explain.
I'm saying, I don't know. Is that like a title you want to use?
Well, engaging the phenomenon, it was more about, that the Tic Tac UFO thing, and in terms of its connection to consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
It's my way of saying that, Yetzirah is moving closer towards us.
Yeah.
It's like it's moving towards us.
Well,
Remember the Fifth Element? Remember the movie Fifth Element?
Yeah. Yes.
Remember that like that giant fireball thing that kind of like this like very general evil thing without they didn't have any. There's no background story to it. It's just evil.
My friend, you said fireball, and this is episode number 28. Birkas Chachama happens every 28 years.
Every 28? You sure it's not every 29?
28. If I'm not mistaken, let me look up.
It's also Koach.
Uh-huh.
It's the Koach.
Yes.
Of
the blessing is recited, the sun completes its cycle every 28 years on a Tuesday at sundown. Blessing in the sun. Birkas Chachama. The next one is 2037. Yeah.
So engaging the phenomenon. That's it's basically, if it's in the news, right? There's this whole idea of the Alter Rebbe said that Mashiach, when Mashiach will come, you'll see him in the news. You'll see it. You'll begin to see it in the news itself. You understand?
Yeah.
It has to be. Yeah. That has to be a prelude to it. That has to be the. To use Marvel Comics language, the herald, right? Mm-hmm. Like the Silver Surfer, right? Was the herald of Galactus, something like that. Yeah. The Swallower of Worlds, right?
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah.
I think I may have even said this, but obviously it's completely different, and Mashiach's not going to swallow the world.
Yeah.
But there is a herald.
Yeah. Sure.
This has to be it.
Yeah.
You're talking. Look. Just think about it. Just think about it for a second. Just think about it. They're talking about there are serious people, and these are the most serious people that you're going to see on TV. Let me explain why.
Yeah.
Because they're not talking heads, and they're not politicians, and they're not. These are the only people on TV that you're seeing in the news right now that are not talking heads. They're not politicians. They're not SJWs. They're not woke schmoke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Idiots. These are military officers, combat veterans, and high-level intelligence officers, right?
Yeah.
Who, all of them are saying the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Just remember what they're saying. Remember Lieutenant Graves, Air Force pilot, still active duty.
You know that there's like a children's
show. For 2 years in a row.
There's a
2 years in a row.
Yeah.
No, but hold on. 2 years in a row. He was saying that every single day they went out off the coast of Florida for 2 straight years. He saw objects that breaking the rules of physics that are spheres within cubes or cubes within spheres. I don't remember that little nuance. Okay, what the hell are these? Like the people that you would trust the most, right? And we trust them the most expensive equipment. Yeah. We trust them with each one of those fighter pilots can, like, if you let's say he went ballistic, he can like unleash his payload and like annihilate like a small town.
Yeah.
You understand? Like he can annihilate like 100,000 people if he decided to do so.
Yeah.
That's insane. That these are the people that are telling you. I'm not even exaggerating. Their missiles are so powerful they can just level entire, just like. If they dropped a bomb in Brooklyn, let's say, like one housing complex, you'd have tens of thousands dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Very power. You give these people a lot of power. Now these guys are on TV saying that freaking UFO cubes and spheres and Tic Tacs flying around, flying through the water, coming from space, flying. So, and nobody is like. I'm not. Like, I guess I'm somewhat of a sci-fi fan, not that much.
Yeah.
You understand? Like, I don't have a Star Trek living room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't have Star Wars pajamas.
Yeah,
I kind of like it.
You know, like those guys who I know who are like 40 years old and got all kinds of.
You're not going to see me at Comic-Con.
Figurines and stuff, or like at the Triumph the Comic Dogs. Which button tells your parents to pick you up?
What he's tell the folks at home. There's a guy who came to this conference.
Here. Forget about telling. Here. This is very short.
No, but they can't see it.
I know, but you could hear. Here. Triumph, the
All right.
insult, dog. Star Wars. Here you go. There you go. Yeah, it's very quite. Okay. I'll just use the short version. God, this is so annoying with these ads. I have to get like an ad blocker. This is killing me. Okay. Oh my god, this is crazy.
You know who the craziest people are? Disney people.
Oh my god. Oh my god. They're like on drugs. It's as if they're on drugs.
I like Pinocchio too, but come on.
Yes, here.
Premiere night here for Attack of the Clones, but outside the Ziegfeld Theater is the real show. Return of the Dorks. Thousands of 35-year-old men waiting days, even months, for just a taste of George Lucas's table scraps. Lonely men who have never had sex, not even with a Catholic priest.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Dressed as a huge nerd. No, but seriously, you're supposed to be...
I'm supposed to be a Jedi.
You're a Jedi Knight, yes. And what are the principles of a Jedi Knight?
To always defend truth and justice throughout the galaxy.
And to eat a lot of peanut M&M's.
Throughout the galaxy.
Everyone is engaging in rousing games of Star Wars Stratego. This is Risk. Very exciting. This game is normally played indoors by 12-year-olds. Unbelievable. Look, among the nerds, I found an actual girl here. Look at this. Not too shabby around here, huh, honey? The male-female ratio, yeah? I mean, you've got your veritable pick of the litter. You can choose from all kinds of guys who have no idea how to please you.
It's going to be a while till he gets to Darth Vader. Just letting you know.
Yeah. Oh, hold on.
She said pretty much, yeah. That's really very, very cute. Wow. That's the last time you'll ever see female genitalia.
Oh, she's pregnant. This is
Yeah, I know. I remember that.
Hold on. I wanna.
Got some
Yeah.
spoilers.
Here.
Who wants to hear a spoiler?
Hold on.
Birds tremble in his presence.
Here. Oh, so, yeah. There you go.
I am Triumph. Oh, scary nerd. So this is to help you breathe, yes? Yes. And which of these buttons calls your parents to pick you up?
All right, back to the show.
Oh my god, it's just like
Send Jamie home, man.
send you.
No,
Anyway,
so again, back to what these guys are saying,
yeah.
right? You have a guy who's been for like the last 10 years. I even personally spoke to him, by the way. His name is Colonel Robert Salas, nuclear missile launch officer. Should I say that again? Nuclear missile launch officer.
Yeah.
Okay, he has a button to press which will destroy the world. That guy is telling you there's freaking UFOs coming and shutting down nuclear missiles. Okay? I mean, how is this not... You see, that is the... Look, why am I railing? Why am I yelling? I'm not really yelling, but why am I outraged? I'm not really outraged, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I am speaking of this energetically.
Yeah.
Because that's the craziest thing that's ever happened since, like, I don't know, like before the Greek times. Like, people wouldn't see anything like that on a mass scale. You wouldn't hear, it's breaking nature. Like weird stuff is happening. Like real anti-nature weird stuff. Yeah. Right? And no one, and these guys are screaming, no one is paying attention.
Yeah. Listen,
Like,
because
what is
again,
it
it goes
take?
back to Emily Dickinson. People are, you can't something that's not, dude. It's like you're trying to install a file into the consciousness of people that, you know, every person, let's say, has a capacity for 1 terabyte, and you're trying to install already, you know, what's the next thing? What comes after terabyte? You're trying to install a file that's like petabyte. You know, and people only have the bandwidth for like, you know, 10 terabytes or something like that. You know, they're not able to process. And even if they do process...
It's agony.
And yeah,
it's
no,
agony.
I'm saying, even if they do process, they're like, okay, so what do we do with this? You know what to do with it. The guys, those captains, those guys, those, pilots, whatever, they know what to do with it. Most people have no clue what to do with it.
I think, you know, it's just gonna...
It's above our pay grade, as it were, you know what I mean?
It has to show up, you know?
Of course.
It has to show up in a big marshmallowy, you know,
by the way,
display.
By the way, something very Earth-like, but something that clearly the continuation of this BS. City Council just voted here 40-7 to ban gas usage in new buildings. Like, you can't have a gas stove. They're not going to have gas stoves, gas anything in new buildings. So only electric. So electricity bills in New York City are going to go through the freaking roof. De Blasio, NYC just made history by banning gas usage in new buildings. This is how you invest in a sustainable future, protect public health, create good-paying jobs, and end the era of fossil fuels. Thank you to the New York City Council for getting this done. 40-7. Vote. If our city can do it, any city can. Ridiculous. Who would have heard of such a thing? Like, dude, you ever try to cook an omelet on electric? You know, like in Israel, they have those electric, you know, those plug-in things.
Yeah.
It tastes like crap. Or cook anything on an electric stove.
I'm used to it. I'm not saying I don't support.
You can get used to anything, obviously, but you know, fire is fire. There's fire and there's electric, and there's like, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you were saying.
Whatever.
You know, like of all the things, you know, like that's the, you know, it's hard to care about like stuff like that. Maybe that's the strategy. You know, like they do things that are so
like mundane, but at the end of the day, it chips away as one of the things that chips away at the whole
I was
thing
gonna say the opposite.
because people are gonna.
They do.
Yeah.
They do so many outrageous, horrific things.
Oh, that
right?
you're just used to it.
that it's just and then when they start to implement a bunch of this small kind of stuff, it kind of just gets by.
Yeah.
It squeezes by because you're not outraged by it. Yeah. And God, man, I'm so sick of this. We have to create a more positive vibe in this discussion.
Okay, so let's finish with a positive vibe.
I'm riding a negative vibe. I'm trying to get off of it. I don't know how.
Okay. B'ezrat Hashem, I'm gonna get a car next week. Lease a car.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about an apartment?
Working on that too. And then at least I'll have some peace of mind. Mental health, whatever you want to call it.
Sounds so lame.
I know, right?
You know?
But at least it's positive. See, you want it positive. No,
I know, dude. I'm part of the problem.
No, it's not part of the problem. Positivity sometimes is very, very lame. It sounds lame.
It's not the positive. After everything, it's sort of like, you go through World War II, God forbid, or something so insanely extreme like that, right? Mm-hmm. Consolation, afterwards, you get a, you get a nice job.
You get a house in Levittown.
You get a house in Levittown, and you get to just kind of, sleep your
fall asleep.
Just fall asleep for the rest of your life. Just like, what the hell is going on here? What is this shit? What is this world?
Yeah.
Why is it so damn boring?
I can't
and
imagine.
Why is the only alternative to boring terror?
Yeah. No, I can't imagine like a guy who like, he was on one of the first landers in Normandy and like survived, and he gets back to his wife and whatever. And she's like so happy that she thought he was like dead, and he arrives and he's alive. She finds out that he's alive. He arrives and this and that, and it's all happy. It's all euphoric. Maybe like the first week or two, everything is euphoric and whatever, and they get a house, and then at some point, like 2-3 months go by, and the guy like he's like, next thing he knows, he's like working as an insurance agent, and he's got his house and his wife and kids on the way, and he's just like, he's literally sitting there at the bar, and he's like, I would rather be flame-throwing Fritz right now. I'd rather be ducking Fritz's bullets from his Mauser and flame-throwing him in a pillbox than this shit.
It's anticlimactic.
Yeah.
It's lame. It's like it feels like after something that intense,
yeah,
you want something special.
Yeah.
Something real, something perceivable, a real result, some real progress, some kind of true like evolution.
Yeah.
Like we should be beings of light after an experience like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never having to deal with but instead you keep falling. It's an awful reality.
Yeah.
They deserved better. People after conflicts like that, they deserve to see what it was really about.
Yeah, it's like, what happened after that? Okay, they created the UN. The only redeemable thing in the UN was that they have that park where they have the psukim, from Nevi'im, nation shall not raise sword upon nation, and what do? In that building, they talk about things that lead to war all the time, or that allow for war all the time, and this is what they've been doing since the end of the last war.
Dude, the creation of the UN is all it is. It's an entity that unites nations to attack Jerusalem.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
It's another Tower of Babel. Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, it says there. We have prophecies that say that they will join together the nations, Gog and Magog.
Yeah.
Which is 70, right? Because there's 70 nations in the world, and they will attack Jerusalem, and that's exactly what we've been seeing.
Yeah.
There's no the war never, Gog and Magog never ended.
Yeah.
After the bullets stopped flying, it just morphed. It's like it changed phases, but the war never ended.
Yeah.
They just want to make you think that the war ended.
Yeah.
So, I just not only does it suck to be a grunt, right, in the trenches, but you also they don't tell you what's really going on. They don't. You don't get to know anything. You don't get to see the progress. It's so.
Yeah.
And that's what's heartbreaking. That's where that negativity comes from.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Like, I need something different. I need tomorrow to be different. Like literally, I'm waking up. I'm like, seeing that headline from Governor Abbott saying, "Oh, we're gonna finish the wall." That's not good enough. Seeing another committee meeting in Arizona, Pima County, election fraud committee. That's not good.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Yeah. It feels like in Russian we call it taskliva. Everything is just kind of moving at the speed of snail.
If only we could get a confirmation that it was an actual moving snail. It's not even clear that that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, listen, I think we're used to, because when Trump was the president, everything was moving at the speed of light. He was moving very, very quickly with many things. Every day you woke up, there was some new thing. And a new thing that the lefty media obfuscated. That he did that was positive, supposedly.
What was that about? That's like...
Yeah.
I don't know if it was it a temporary reprieve from just like the decade of that animal Obama?
I don't know.
Was it just a reprieve? I mean, like, was it kind of like the last gulp of air before, like, the deep dive, where you come out, on the other side, or you don't come out?
Can I read this excerpt from Klaus Schwab's book, COVID-19: The Great Reset?
Be my guess.
It's an excerpt from his book. I haven't corroborated if this is actually the case, but whatever. At least 4 billion useless eaters shall be eliminated by the year 2050 by means of limited wars, organized epidemics of fatal rapid-acting diseases, and starvation. Energy, food, and water shall be kept at subsistence levels for the non-elite, starting with the white populations of Western Europe and North America, and then spreading to other races. The population of Canada, Western Europe, and the United States will be decimated more rapidly than on other continents until the world's population reaches a manageable level of 1 billion, of which 500 million will consist of Chinese and Japanese races, selected because they are people who have been regimented for centuries and who are accustomed to obeying authority without question. I think this is like, they're just not, it's not from his book, but from the time there should
obviously he didn't write that. I mean, that's definitely what he thinks.
From the time there should be artificially contrived food and water shortages and medical care to remind the masses that their very existence depends on the goodwill of the Committee of 300. Yeah, I don't think this is whatever.
No, I mean that's
essentially what they want.
That's a sneak peek into his mind.
Yeah.
But he didn't put that. He didn't commit that to paper.
Seeing the triple jabbed come down with COVID and immediately jump online to inform the world how grateful they are for their booster because they are certain it could have been so much worse is quite frankly the most amazing display of human stupidity I've ever witnessed. My God. It's like a lemming parade. It's a lemming. You ever see just like that scene of lemmings just off the cliff?
Listen, we can't make fun of generations of abuse victims.
Yeah.
Understand? We can't. People have been subjected to generations of programming.
Yeah.
And now they're being, further victimized. So we got to remember that. We can't be that mad at them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's bad enough to be in the situation they're in. On top of everything, can't pile on,
Yeah.
That's there's like a scary little like fine line between staying like a loving person and becoming one of them. I don't mean the lemmings. I mean like the Pied Pipers.
Yeah. So crazy.
Like you want to get mad at the victims so that what that's about. You know what getting mad at the victims is. It's like not you don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Like you're scared. Like, that means I have to do something.
Yeah.
So it's easier just to blame them, saying, it's their fault anyway. It's going to happen anyway.
Yeah. The thing is, some of them are victims, some of them are actually, they'll argue with you and they're convinced. It's kind of like what my friend wrote. See, this is what he wrote. This guy, I told you about him. He goes, here. He wrote, he wrote his whole thing. Here. The government is openly talking about forcibly injecting me, my pregnant. This guy lives in Israel. He goes, the more BS this BS game goes on, the more I hate all these people, the people that argue, The government is openly talking about forcibly injecting me, my pregnant wife, my small children with mystery goop that gives people myocarditis and God knows what else to protect us from a virus. which the wife and I have already recovered from, and which the kids did not contact despite being exposed to 2 sick adults in close proximity for 2 weeks, and about forbidding us to leave the country to avoid the injection. And all these people are just cheering them on or shrugging. F them. I hope they are all sterilized and die. This is my friend. So it's like, he's just tired of people's, kind of, it's like that phrase, those who maintain their neutrality. It's like the hottest place in hell. You know what I'm saying? For those people.
If only they would. I mean, that's a different idea, but these people aren't even maintaining their neutrality.
They're arguing. Yeah, they're arguing for the thing. So this guy has had it.
There's something about like mafia psychology, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense on a certain level. Listen, there's always a truth. Anybody who has any foothold in this world, right, has a grasp of certain concepts which are true about human nature. The mafia has some level of success, right? They must have something. They must know. They must be employing some concepts, some universal concepts. And Richard Pryor, he explained the mafia mentality, right? He goes, mafia. They don't get crazy. They appeal to your intellect, right? Like they'll tell you, you understand it's difficult to run without knees, right? Right? So
Yeah.
They appeal to your intellect, right?
Yeah.
So there's a certain kind of, how would that apply to us? How would that be helpful? Guns.
Yeah.
Like for you have people who criticize, let's say, they're going to criticize like the Amish or Quakers or Mennonites or Orthodox Jews, right?
Mm.
But you're not going to criticize ISIS, or you're going to go to jail like that Danish minister did because she opposed child marriage.
Yeah.
You saw that was in the news today.
Yeah.
Okay, so why? There's a lot of underlying reasons, but what's the kind of like the primal reaction? Why is it scary to say anything against a Muslim?
Yeah.
Because they're gonna do something Muslim, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, which means fear of brute force and aggression.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So, people who have lost their connection to that are in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay. People who haven't lost their connection to that are, people keep a safe distance. Mm. It's like Bill Burr. He was talking about walking his pit bull. Yeah. He goes, if you've never walked a pit bull on the street, you have to experience this. It's like walking a gun.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you're walking down the street and you just see people just get out of your way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's still part of human nature. Now, when you have aggression, when you have like a group of people, right, who are down with jackbooted thugs coming into your house and pumping you and your family full of experimental goop, right?
Yeah.
That's when that has to come into, that part of the human character has to come into play. Like, you have to have that, right? You need a gun, and you got to have the will to use it.
Yeah.
If people sense that, then they don't get that bold in the first place, by the way.
Well, can we end off on this?
Yeah.
This is from France. Guillotines erected in France, inscribed with the names of 300, speaking of 300, elected officials who supported the health pass. 2 dummy guillotines plastered with the names of 300 officials who defended the health pass were discovered in Landes, in the southwest of France last weekend. 2 of the targeted officials, whose names appeared on the 2-meter-high beheading devices, filed a complaint on Tuesday. All the names on the guillotines had reportedly co-signed a journal on July 18th, praising the courage of the decisions taken by Emmanuel Macron for implementing new regulations.
So basically, pro-vaccine people are about to get guillotined, basically.
or these officials. I don't know about pro-vaccine.
That's what I meant. The pro-vaccine, pro-mandate officials are now showing up. Their names are showing up on a list printed on a guillotine. So that's good. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, France, you know those guys. You know how they roll. You know how those heads roll. France will be France. There'll be protests.
I don't know. Do you think they're capable of that? I know the Muslims in France are capable of that, but the French,
dude, like I said, there's gonna be strange bedfellows in this thing. Muslims are also not. There's like Hasidic Jews are not down with this whole thing. Muslims ain't down with this. Black people ain't down with this.
Dude, you sent me Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah, Jeremy Corbyn ain't down with this.
I don't care if Jeremy Corbyn is wearing kayas and studying Daf Yomi. Never send me anything with the name Jeremy Corbyn on it.
I hear.
Okay?
Dude, but you see, he's a real like liberal. You see that?
Show nachwe.
He's against this stuff, but
I don't want to hear.
But you
don't want to hear his name. I don't want to see his face. I don't want to know he exists. That's just Yanimoku. I can't.
I hear. I don't blame you. That's why I didn't post this video on my Facebook, because I'm just like, you know what? I don't really want to be associated with him.
This is some kind of trick.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's like another psyop. It's like another psyop. That now the Times of Israel. Oh, anti-Israel minister in England, Jeremy Corbyn comes out against the vaccine. Easy headline, low-hanging fruit for these assholes. Pardon my language.
You are pardoned.
Pardon. All right.
Pardon.
It's been almost 3 hours, sir.
All right, let's.
In the words of Dave Chappelle, I think it's time for Reggie to karate-size your ass.
Good night. Good night, Denise. Good night, Alex. Hopefully. No, we got to contact our two listeners, or else.
And hello, Rumble in the Jungle.
Rumble, and yes, switch over to Rumble, people, please.
Yeah. Give us cash. No, I'm kidding. Actually, no, I'm not. But no, yes, I am. But no, I'm not.
Should I open up one of those GoFundMes? I'm not sure what I'm gonna. Just GoFundMe. Hey, you like me? Send me money.
Hey, my name is Frank the Tank. Give me money.
Yeah.
They never should have give you Negroes money. Don't appreciate shiznit.
If you appreciate my existence, send me some money so I can continue existing.
Are you the guy that charges $250 for a consultation? Oh, you must be a fraud.
God. Unbelievable. Yeah, I guess he doesn't. I guess he lives for free. He doesn't have to pay.
Yeah, he lives for free. And I guess then if he's a fraud, then Schmeiser, I don't know what they are. They're like just everybody that works there is like a Madoff. It's just
weird.
Crazy. All right, sir.
All right, brother.
It's been real deal Holyfield.
The Koyach episode.
What do I just in English? How do I title it? Strength? No. Power.
The power. How about this? Just the power. And then that'll lead into the next episode where we'll talk about DC Benny, the comedian.
Oh my God! What about I've Got the Power?
I'll leave it up to you. This is your show.
Fight the Power. And then we can post a picture of Flav.
No. Just the power.
All right. Oh yeah, okay, fine. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Oh, we can have if it's the power, we can have Christopher Lloyd getting electrocuted.
Yeah.
Hey, no, what's it called? Yeah. All right.
All right, brother.
It's settled then.
Unagi, the power.
All right. Laila Tov.
All right, man.
Peace.
Take care.